Struggling to get your business online? At Domains2U, we make it easy with fast domain registration, powerful web hosting, and top-tier security solutions. Protect your data and customers with premium security features like domain privacy and SSL encryption. Find the perfect domain name and get online in minutes. Get started today at domains2u.com.au.
Well, good evening, race fans, and welcome back once again to Simple Racing Broadcasts. Tonight it is, of course, round 9 of the MC Motorsport Domains2U MCV8 Series, and tonight we arrive at one of 2 street circuits that will finish off the calendar for this season. Tonight, Adelaide Street Circuit beckons, and next week, of course, we finish up the championship at Long Beach. It's going to be an absolute cracker of a way to finish this season that has been super competitive right throughout, and to be finishing at a couple of street circuits where supercars they're born to be, really, aren't they? It's going to be an awesome couple of rounds of racing as we get to the closing stages of this season. And of course, we were here just last week with the Alliance Sim Racing's final round of their season, and Adelaide, as always, turned on a spectacular show. The weather tonight perhaps not looking quite so good, but that just means better racing and better viewing for all of us here at home. My name's Jared Cole. It's great to have you along with us. I'm joined in the booth once again by Isaac Fogarty. And Isaac, it's good to be back at Adelaide.
Yeah, good evening, Jared. It absolutely is. Here only just under a week ago with ASR, as you said, they did a 78 lap race start to finish. Not quite as tiring or treacherous on our drivers this evening. 2 races broken up, a 19 lap and a 38 lap race, so should be a little bit of a smoother evening for those that did the 78 last week and shall be back in the car this week, so I think they'll be thankful for the break in between. But really looking forward to both the races tonight. I have heard, a little birdie has told me that there is a high chance of rain at some point this evening as well, so if we don't see it in the first race, I definitely think there's going to be a bit of weather playing factor in the second race.
And certainly the weather looks that way. The humidity's come down a little bit since practice earlier. It was sitting up in the 80s. It's down into the 70s, but overcast and just a very slight breeze around. It does look a little less than promising out there as far as weather goes, but otherwise generally pretty good here in Adelaide. As always, open setups available, a 61% fuel restriction here this evening for the drivers will keep them on their toes. And we've got a little bit to look at in terms of the championship standings, because it's getting pretty tight as we get into these last couple of rounds. Chastanov and Bowler out in front. There's a little bit to separate them, and you'd have to think that Chastanov's almost got this sewn up. I don't know that Bowler can recover 42 odd points to catch back up and challenge for the front, but anything can happen over 2 rounds of racing. Behind them, the battle for the third step on the podium is well and truly alive, with Jamie Dyke, Thomas Hinds and Brett Loxton all locked in a very, very close battle for the last of the silverware. Just outside of that, Will Buchanan is probably a little further back than he'd like to be, but still in touch. Hayden Veld probably just going to fall off the back of that battle, but plenty of bragging rights still on offer beyond that. Ryan Palmer and Paul Young pretty close together, as well as Will Brown and Liam Jensen, and then Josh Harris and Dane Snadden locked into it. Plenty going on. Simon Caplet, for the great run that he's had all season in that AM Cup class, has finally given up that top spot to Dean Powell. So he's got a bit of work to do here tonight and next week to just try and get back in front.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of work for him to get those points back, but it is Adelaide tonight, and we've got 2 street circuits to finish out this season, Adelaide and Long Beach, so they're both going to be extremely challenging in their own right, and one small mistake from James Chastanoff or from Dean Powell will open the door for the drivers to hit second in both championships to really try and capitalise, and I am very excited at the prospect of maybe, not that I want to wish that on anybody, but James Chastanoff, if he gets it wrong tonight, we could see Matt Bowler jump up into a much closer striking distance coming into Long Beach, and wouldn't that be something to talk about coming into the championship finale next week?
It absolutely would be. Speaking of, let's get on down to the track and check out some of the qualifying action as the drivers make their way around this street circuit, and James Chastanoff just pulling it on over there as he finishes off what was not destined to be a particularly quick lap for him. So we'll have to see how it all turns out. Now, something we should talk about tonight before anyone gets too confused with things, I suppose, is a little bit of a change in the colour scheme here, as we see Ryan Palmer getting up the escape road. It's nice of him to get up the escape road rather than into the wall this week. But some slight changes to our qualifying colours. We have been chatting about this for a little while, Isaac, just trying to make our broadcasts a little more appealing and a little easier to follow for some of our viewers that may suffer, as you do, from a little bit of colour blindness. And so mixing it up a little with some of the colour schemes that we've used here for our sectors.
Yeah, it's changed up a little bit. This has been, as you said, a discussion that you and I have been having for a little while, and it really has started to come to the fore here at MC when I try and watch qualifying, and it was green and yellow, and I would accidentally say that a driver's improving when they actually, in fact, had a yellow sector. So this week, we've changed how the sectors work a little bit. So you've got red on your screen to notice that the driver is not improving in any aspect. A green, I think that's the colour I'm looking at on my screen. A green indicates that the driver is improving in the personal best, and then obviously a purple means that they are fastest overall, as has been the case for in the old system as well. But it just means that for myself and for anyone else watching at home that might look at the screen and find it a little bit difficult to tell the difference between the colours, colour blindness, or sometimes it's just hard to see the difference between colours. It's much more straightforward. We know this driver is improving. We look at James Scott on our screen, and I think he's just come out the pits. But when he does actually start to set a time, we can see just definitively if he is improving or not.
And in us going through that, I've just realised, of course, that we don't actually have those colours quite as we had discussed them, which is a bit of a pain in the butt. But anyhow, that is the way it goes. And also noticing that we're having some issues with our audio this evening as well. So we'll get that fixed up. It seems like it's going to be one of those nights. It's not a good start to the
Adelaide.
evening. Adelaide just messing with us. So for the moment, folks, what we do have, yes, as I said, red will indicate a slower sector. The yellow that we've got there, I will try and get changed for us. That will actually be showing us a bright blue for improvements in terms of PBs, and then a purple will remain for faster sectors. We're hoping that just makes it all a bit more accessible, honestly.
Yeah, it's all about making sure that everything's, as accessible as possible, and everyone can be across what is happening in a race session, in a qualifying session. No one's trying to, do a bit of guesswork. We want to take the guesswork out of, commentating and racing and watching the racing, and make it as accessible and as enjoyable for everybody as possible. You look at James Chastanoff on your screen here, and Liam Jensen's just set a personal best time. He's jumped up a couple of spots. You can see Cruz McVee set a personal best in the first sector, so he still does jump up a couple of spots, but he didn't improve. Ryan Palmer's just done a lap where he didn't improve at all, and that's my favourite thing about this brand new colour scheme, is we can see when Ryan Palmer isn't improving very clearly. Ben Morris has actually improved in the first sector and is coming towards the end of the second sector. James Chastanoff jumping out of the way. Ben Morris has actually improved in 2 sectors now, so whether he can jump up a handful of spots here and just how far he can jump up here, that's Jamie Dyke we're looking at now on his outlap. And Ryan Nielsen is improving, I believe.
Yeah, he's improved in the second sector.
Different blue
on his. Yeah, now we've actually fixed the colours up. It actually does look the way that we had discussed originally. So, a better second sector for Nielsen. Not so good on the first. Has not improved on his overall time, but we'll see what he can do here with this final one. Does go slower again than his PB. So, picking up a bit of extra pace in the second sector, but not matching it across the whole lap. There's a few drivers out there though that are still finding some improvements. Scott Watts only just getting out on track now, so he's off to set his first full lap time here. So it'll be interesting to see what he's got up the sleeve. 24 drivers here tonight at Adelaide. It'll be interesting going into that turn 1 chicane and to see whether or not it is actually a clean run through there tonight, Isaac.
Yeah, that first chicane could certainly cause quite a few headaches. Turn 8 as well last Tuesday was causing a number of headaches with drivers trying to go side by side through there. So, there's technically a gentleman's rule about that corner and going through their single file, but whether that's abided by at any point, we'll wait and find out. There's a lock-up going to the final corner from one of the ADHD cars. Josh Harris locks massive outside front, so the left front carried a massive lock into that corner, and I don't think he'll improve on that occasion as a result. Dane Snadden does jump up a handful of positions into P16. Massive slide for Dean Powell and contact with the wall, and that's another one of the ADHD cars, and he stopped in an awkward spot, so he'll have to get out of the way pretty quickly so we can get back to the lane. This is Jamie Dyke on your screen. He's gone purple in Sector 2, did not improve in Sector 1, so he was down on his best through there, but he's actually topped the best of everybody in sector number 2. What is this going to be around the final corner for the Fishy Motorsports driver? Could this put him closer to pole? 1:20.2 is the time to beat so far, set by James Scott. What is it? Is he 1:20. Trying to find 1:20.6.
Yes. So a little bit quicker. Loxton's about to improve his time as well. No purple sectors yet. A little bit slower through the final one, but he'll jump up into 10th as James Chastanoff improves his middle sector as well. So he'll be wanting to get up towards the front. Sitting in 9th, so close to the end of qualifying, is probably not the ideal spot for our championship leader to be.
No, not at all. This is the last place that I would want to be, especially when Matt Bowler's on the front of the grid or in position 2, and you've got your teammate around you, and another one, he just jumps up to 7th there, James Chastanoff, which I think he'll want to continue to jump up high. 3 minutes remaining in the session. He should get at least another lap in here, maybe 2. He's got traffic in front of him. This is across the line. Thomas Hins. Will this be an improvement? James Scott just did a purple sector 1. Improvements. Improvement all round for Thomas Hins, jumped up to 11th. James Scott's just gone faster again, by the way, ladies and gents, doing their 20.206. Hayden Veld is, can't see him on our, there he is, he's not improving at this stage. Not improving on this lap, but still quick.
Yeah, look, he's up there, as always, in amongst it, although not perhaps featuring quite as strongly as he would have liked to in terms of the overall championship standings. But yeah, look, an interesting grid forming up here. Bowler just coming around also for Eclipse Sim Sports, sitting in third currently, not looking like he's going to improve this time around, which is going to mean a pretty strong final lap is going to be required here if he's going to make it at all. We're talking 1:20 or thereabouts for a qualifying lap, so he's going to have enough time to push one more time here, but only just. And he'll be probably one of the last drivers, assuming a clean lap, be one of the last drivers who actually does get to finish out a full qualifying lap before the session does end. Bit of a conversation going on around the place in the YouTube chat, just as to how many, big hit on the wall there, as to how many laps we're expecting from the safety car tonight. Yeah, look, I expect we're not going to get away without one tonight here, Isaac. What do you reckon?
I would be surprised if we have an Adelaide without a safety car. I feel like that's having having hot chips without sauce. I feel like it's just criminal, isn't it? Like you can't do that. So I do believe that at some point this evening we will see safety car. I think this man will be in the wall at some point this evening. There we go. I've called it, and it happened immediately. He had a nice rub with the wall at the exit of turn 8. Did Ryan Palmer, but I think he's. Last week he was in the wars a little bit in ASR, so hopefully he's out of the wars again tonight, but I think we might see Ryan Palmer in the wall a time or two this evening. I just think that we struggle to get to the end of a race without a car with bent paneling on it.
Yeah, and Adelaide it's always going to deliver that sort of thing. Got Watts puts in his final effort, improves his time. Will he improve his position? No, he'll stay in 24th as Palmer comes across the line. Matt Bowler looks like he'll be the last one across, doesn't improve there either as we get to the end of this qualifying session. And that will be all she wrote as the drivers make their way back into the pit lane, and we get ready to go racing once again.
Yes.
Here in Adelaide, we'll just wait on the official results coming through. And we will have a look at the grid for race number 1. 19-lap sprint. It's going to be... Look, I mean, I can't imagine we're getting through the first 2 laps without a safety car coming up. But I guess we'll find out what these drivers have learned from last week for those that were involved. Here's how it lines up for race number 1. James Scott and Will Buchanan take the front row with Matt Bowler and Jamie Dyke right behind them. Then Veld and Young on row 3 ahead of Chastanov and Palmer. Ryan Nielsen and Brett Loxton rounding out your top 10. Behind them, Thomas Hinz and Ben Morris on row 6. And David Coleman and William Brown lining up alongside each other. Dane Snadden and Cruz McPhee on row 8 ahead of Dean Powell and James Doyle. Powell really nicely positioned to hold on to the lead in that AM Cup class. Thomas Cool and Josh Harris rounding out the top 20 with Liam Jensen and Simon Caplett behind them. Then Brad Grant and Scott Watts with Ian Ward, Nathan Allen and Isaac Edwards in race control here this evening. And I did notice Nathan Allen just checking in earlier, welcoming me back behind the mic as his favourite commentator.
I was just looking at that.
And you know what? I'm going to take that as entirely honest and straightforward and genuine, and not at all sarcastic, Nathan. So thank you so much for your support, mate. It's always good to hear from you.
Oh, well, he's a very supportive friend, obviously. It's,
obviously.
It's the same with all the MC guys, really. I sent Ryan Palmer a lovely message earlier saying, I hope he wins tonight. And then he replied with, I hope you have a good night of commentary. So everyone's just really nice and all friendly here at MC Motorsport, and everyone gets along.
That doesn't sound at all like anything that Ryan Palmer would ever say, honestly.
Yeah, I think it was also absolutely, definitely genuine.
Yeah, well, look, sure, no doubt at all. We'll wait a moment as the drivers start to get down to the grid. They've got about a minute left to go here, and that famous turn 1 chicane there in our B-roll we captured earlier, certainly before the clouds made their way across here this evening. I don't know. The weather looking pretty good at the moment. We'll take a quick look at the weather once we do get down to the track, but it is looking pretty clear at the moment. So I don't think we'll have too many concerns, let's head on down to the track as the drivers do get lined up and start to get ready to go racing here for race number 1. And yeah, the weather all looking reasonably overcast. It's certainly cloudy.
It's very dark
we'll take
out
a quick
there,
look.
isn't it?
There's nothing on the radar. So look,
man, that's a shame.
yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not convinced that tells us a lot just yet. What will be interesting is there's not a lot of breeze around. So anyway, 19 laps ahead. We are under starters' orders as the revs rise, the lights are up, and we are underway for race number 1 here. Round 9 of the MCV8 Series gets underway as we head on down towards the Turn 1 chicane for the very first time. And here we go. What lies in store as everyone tries to negotiate their way through. It's been pretty clean so far. Big slide there from Paul Young, and I think he's into the wall as well. It won't be the start he was hoping for. You can see there's quite a bit of smoke in the background. Looks like Paul Young, Cruz McVie, both caught up in that as we get around the staircase section here. And look, I think the out in front is the place to be here, Isaac.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, yeah, if you're out in front at the moment, you are more than comfortable at this stage. And James Scott, Will Buchanan with a wonderful start to get himself up into the lead of this race. James Scott not able to convert that pole position to a lead of the race early on, but I'm sure he has pace behind that car. He will not be too phased at this stage. Ryan Palmer in 6th place. James Chastain now following behind him, so he's going to want to put some moves on early. Hayden Veld is already building a gap to his teammate Matt Bowler. Is this strategic maybe? I'm wondering if Hayden Veld is closed back up again now, but if we start to see that gap grow back out again, could this be a strategic play? And we have a safety car already, ladies and gentlemen. So we didn't even make it to lap 2, Jared, and we already have a safety car.
Yeah, not surprising. I have no doubt that will be off the back of that initial incident with Paul Young getting heavily into the wall there through the first chicane. And yeah, we'll go back and we'll take a look at that in just a moment as everyone does bunch up behind the safety car and settle in for the much slower lap around. Let's take a look and see just what happened. And Paul Young certainly the first driver just to struggle there. A bit loose through that first turn, and then nowhere to go for Liam Jensen. And in fact, 2 or 3 of the Koala Cartel cars getting caught up in that as well. So Cruz McVie, I think might have been the first one into him. And there it is, big hit on the back end, gets spun around further. And then, yeah, Liam Jensen as well as he came through. So some pretty big impacts for the Koala Cartel guys. And yeah, Jensen, I don't think realised just how badly damaged that front left was. He's had to pull it up the escape road because there's no way that he was going to get that back to the pit road that easily. So a rough start for Koala Cartel on the iRacing Designs replay, but not super surprising here at Adelaide, really.
No, that's right. We knew that there was always going to be chaos early on. I was hoping that maybe we'd get past lap 2 before we did see a safety car, but it does seem that the Koala Cartel cars and Paul Young were not able to. Well, Paul Young unfortunately got loose on the dirty side of the road and found contact with Ryan Palmer, I believe it was, and then into the wall. As a result, Ryan Palmer really sort of an innocent party in that situation as well. Not much he could have done to avoid that contact. And then, yeah, Liam Jensen absolutely nowhere to go. And as we say this time and time again, Koala Cartel cars travel in packs, and when one of them strikes, you're more than likely to find that there'll be a few others that will take a strike as well. And unfortunately for Paul Young, there was quite a number of Koala cars that came through at that stage. Cruz McVie also one of those cars. I believe Thomas Cool was the other one that was a part of that. So unfortunately for Cruz McVie and Liam Jensen, they also carry significant damages. Simon Kapler, what's happened to him? A little bit of a touch-up with one of the Ford Mustangs there.
Brad Grant.
Now Brad Grant, so both of them are facing the wrong way. Safety car.
Nice little flick spins though. Credit where credit's due.
Some good flick spins. I believe there's been a bit of controversy recently in the real Supercars Championship with them being able to do flick spins in situations like that, and the driving standards advisor Craig Baird wants to get rid of flick spins, but looking at that, I think we should keep them. I don't see why.
How do you get rid of flick spins? How do you get rid of flick spins?
That's what I've been thinking. We've had this debate in some friendship groups, Jared, of what do you do instead of the flick spin? If you can't flick spin, do you just do the Austin Powers 200-point turn?
Yeah. How do you
flick spin? There might be situations where a flick spin is unapplicable, like you look at the Australian Grand Prix. Maybe if you're Brock Feeney, don't flick spin in front of the entire field to try and get back facing the right way and take out 3 cars with you. But in that situation,
the flick spin is not the problem there, right? The flick spin isn't the problem in that circumstance. Right. It's the decision of the driver to rejoin unsafely. So
I don't think the flick spin is the problem, but they are talking about getting rid of the flick spin. And looking at that, I think it's a prime example of why we all like it, because it just looks so poetic when you turn the car around in one go.
The risk there, Isaac, is, if and to be fair, it was the damaged cars from that earlier incident that were coming through behind Kaplan and Grant there. But the risk there, if you can't flick spin it, is that you are caught in the middle of the track broadside. When you're coming through a section like the staircase at Adelaide, drivers don't see you until they're already coming out of the turn at full noise, and you're sitting across the track. How is that better than a flick spin? That's crazy.
That's right. Exactly. And I think there's got to be, and that's exactly what Mitch Curry is saying. Flick spins are fine. Just don't be a you-know-what in front of half of the field. But I think what they did there, absolutely play on. And look, I just like talking about controversial things, and flick spins at the moment seem to be one of those. But I think they look really cool. Regardless, safety car's in the lane, and Will Buchanan's got control of the field.
Interestingly enough, the fastest lap of the race so far goes to Brad Grant back in 21st, as he's tried to catch up to the back of the pack. And here we go once again down to the chicane. Well, hopefully it'll be a little bit cleaner this time around, given that everyone has got a bit of a racing line going on, and the rest of the field comes flying on through. And we're looking pretty good at the moment. Out in front, Buchanan, Scott, Dyke, Bowler, Veld and Palmer, all in a pretty tight little group up in front. I can't imagine it'll be long before we see James Scott take off here again.
I would imagine not. He'll be sizing up Will Buchanan, who actually got a little bit of momentum off the start there and had a slight gap back to James Scott, but that's sort of diminished a little bit again on this restart, and James Scott has not been was not let him go. Will Buchanan has not been able to pull away the same way he could originally, so I'd say it's a matter of time before James Scott gets back in front. And you see that as a change for position. In the meantime, Ryan Palmer, again, all over the back of Hayden Veld, but Hayden Veld is going to make that car as wide as possible, because I think there will be a little bit of a team game going on here, knowing that James Chastain is behind both Eclipse Sim Sport cars. They will not want to open up the door for Matt Bowler to lose any positions here if necessary.
And this is the interesting thing though, right? Because we've heard from the guys at Eclipse a number of times, they're often not even in the same voice channel during these races. You've got to wonder, is that what we're seeing here tonight from them as well? As Ryan Palmer, I'm pretty sure, must have picked up a slowdown there. He might have been lucky to get away with it. He went very, very wide. Josh Harris comes through and does the same. He picks up a slowdown. So Palmer nails it. Harris goes just a little bit further across that curb, and it's a game of millimetres trying to avoid that one there. James Scott, the fastest lap so far, at 20.98 on that last one. It's a matter of time. Surely Buchanan's just going to have to fight him off for as long as he possibly can. We're starting to see a little bit of a gap open up. Just this front group starting to spread out a little bit as we watch Ryan Palmer, but out in front, here's James Scott all over the back of Will Buchanan. Jamie Dyke's right there as well. Matt Bowler in behind the Fishy Motorsports car as well. And it does start to spread out a little bit. Ryan Palmer's just a little bit slower than the front five so far, and then a bit of a gap in around 10th to Ben Morris, as we see Thomas Hinz has made a move past David Coleman in the background just as we speak about it. And then a bit of a gap back to Dane Snadden as well, who's heading up this group here with James Doyle, Josh Harris, Will Brown all in behind him. So a couple of really distinct groups starting to form up out in front. James Scott, though, continues to close that gap as they come through the chicane once again. And yeah, look, it's anyone's race at this point. What is interesting I've noticed is that we're sitting at 20 laps. I was sure we were having 19. But it looks as though iRacing's decided we're going 20. And, you know, we've had some issues with this already this season with iRacing server setups just being a bit wonky. I wonder if that's what's happened here. The driver's expecting that extra lap, I wonder.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know how much, whether you do need a full tank of fuel to get to 20 laps in this race, or just how much the drivers do fuel calculations with these races, these shorter races. But if they have calculated for 19 laps of fuel, that could throw a bit of a headache in the works if they have to make it going for an extra lap. Or I could just be absolutely making stuff up and there's no need for fuel concern at all. They will have a default level of fuel. I don't know. Could be anyone's guess, but I think an extra lap here. Look, I'm never opposed to an extra lap at Adelaide, but whether they know it's coming or not, James Scott's certainly wasting no time. He doesn't want to wait. He doesn't even want to wait 6 laps, 7 laps if he can avoid it. He wants to get past pretty much as soon as he can. He was giving Will Buchanan a touch up there on the exit of the final corner, and now sizing him up in the run down towards the staircase section. He's trying to find a way past Will Buchanan, doing everything he can to get the drive off the corner to maximise his straight line speed, and he's doing a really good job of that at the moment. But the run off 7 here will be crucial for James Scott. If he can get the drive out of 7, down through 8, then he'll be well positioned to go for an overtaking 9. However, it will be tricky in this situation because you can't see much right on the rear wing of the preceding car through 8. So he's sort of turning into 8 a little bit blind there. Manages to get through nicely, but not close enough. Ryan Palmer's just lost a spot due to a slowdown, so James Chastanoff is up another spot, and that will not be what Matt Bowler wants to see at all, because it means there is now only 1 car between himself and the championship leader.
In saying that, though, the gap that's opened up behind this front group of 5 is going to be a fair effort for Chassis to overcome here. It's almost 3 seconds that this group of 5 have actually pulled away at the moment. So even though Scott is all over Will Buchanan, the group of them are staying pretty nicely in touch at the moment. Buchanan is fighting on pretty hard, and yeah, look, it's not slowing any of them down at this stage. Chastanoff's got a lot of work to do. You can see the rest of that follow-up group just starting to come through now.
Yeah, I'm just looking. It's starting to spread out. As you said, the gaps are growing a little bit more than I might have expected at this early stage of the race, but Adelaide is a tough circuit. This is Thomas Cool. Oh, that's huge contact with the outside tyre barrier. That's almost torn the front right corner off the car. And I believe he's actually he's actually driven it back to the pit lane from there and is back out on the circuit now. But that was a huge impact with the wall. Josh Harris had him listed as out for a minute there. He has reconnected, so not entirely sure what's happening with that internet for Josh Harris, but yeah, it just looks like a disconnect.
Yeah, it does, unfortunately. Now the problem for him will be what's happened on the rejoin. It looks like he's actually been okay, so thankfully he's kept going on his end of things, and it hasn't caused any massive dramas, but yeah, for a moment there it looked like he might have had some pretty significant issues. Anyhow, out in front we continue on. Buchanan's doing a great job of holding James Scott in P2. Jamie Dyke starting to fall away just a little bit now, and staying back there with Hayden Veld and Matt Bowler from Eclipse Sim Sports. Even Veld is probably doing a better job at the moment of hanging on, although both Dyke and Veld pick up a slowdown. So here comes Matt Bowler. He's going to move on through, and whether he can, as he overcooks it. Now, that's not what he wanted. Shasti goes through, Palmer goes through, Loxton, Nielsen. He's going to have to wait in this bay as half the field comes flying through and gets out in front. That is look, not disastrous, but it's definitely not what Matt Bowler was hoping for at this stage.
No, this is not ideal at all for the man that sits second in the championship, and he's losing key spots to James Chastanoff here. Not quite sure exactly what happened there. Maybe just overcooked it, maybe overshot the corner coming into 4, trying to go for the overtake on Jamie Dyke. This is James Scott still trying to find a way past Will Buchanan. This is Ryan Palmer up the inside of James Chastanoff to get that spot back. So he lost it due to a slowdown. James Chastanoff went on through, and Ryan Palmer now returns serve, gets that spot back and up inside the top 5. Still 2.5 seconds up the road is Hayden Veld, so I think Ryan Palmer now will just try and secure this 5th position as it stands. Matt Bowler, the goal for him in this last 10 laps will be to try and get back to 10th place to secure himself a front row start for race number 2 coming up later on. That's going to be the goal here, I think.
Well,
but rear bar comes
off Hayden Veld's car.
Or the rear bar. I think it was the rear bar.
Rear bar?
I think that's definitely the rear bar of Hayden Veld.
Was it Veld at all, or was it actually still sitting there from last time around?
That's a wonderful question. Who's missing a front bar?
That was definitely an Eclipse Sim Sports bar. Was it? That's really interesting. I know Hayden Veld seems intact, so I don't know who's left that one behind.
I'm very confused by that. Yeah, who's lost a front or rear bar at turn 1? They must have hit the tyre barrier fairly
We'll put that
decently.
out over the PA, shall we, and see if anyone's...
Yeah, just if race control could find out who's lost a front bar, that would be absolutely wonderful. But no, yeah, that's interesting to note that someone has indeed lost a front bar, not looking good for them at all. They'll certainly be feeling it, especially coming up to this corner here, turn 8. If you've got no front bar, it is an absolute mission to try and turn one of these cars through turn 8 at any sort of relative speed. You can see here, this is a little battle pack led by Dean Powell and Simon Caplet. So they're the 2 drivers battling for the AM Class Championship. Obviously, the announcement has come by MC with the introduction of the upcoming season. So once this season concludes, we move into a brand new season of MCV8. We're introducing 3 classes, which is Pro, Pro-Am, and Am. And here is James Scott, switchback on Will Buchanan. He's still stuck on the outside. He's going to try and go for the switchback once again. He'll still be on the outside coming into turn 6, but he should have the inside for 7. A bit of an awkward drive off the corner for Will Buchanan, trying to provide space, and James Scott, big slide off of 7, but he should have the lead of this race. They're going to drag a race down towards 8, but that is a change for the lead, and James Scott, after making it was hard work for him. Will Buchanan made it almost virtually impossible for James Scott to get past. He had to throw everything at him to get the lead of that race back, and eventually he's done it.
Yeah, it's a really awkward spot to actually get the pass done through that staircase, and if only for a couple of extra centimetres there, Buchanan avoiding the wall there would have made all the difference. But unfortunately, that tap of the tyre barrier just enough to slow him down and allow James Scott back out in front. Now watch him start to pull away. We've seen it happen time and time again this season. Once you get James Scott out into some clean air, he is very, very hard to stop, and already out to 6/10 as they make their way down the front straight. I don't know how much longer Buchanan's going to be able to keep in touch as the gap starts to extend another 2/10 already through the chicane. So James Scott starting to walk away, and behind Jamie Dyke and Hayden Veld starting to close in and make this a real battle for the best of the rest, I suppose. If Scott does pull away, and he does seem to be continuing to do that. What I was going to mention earlier, Isaac, is that the recent update, if I'm not mistaken, was only about this time last week that iRacing released the new update for the new season. And one of the things that kind of snuck by in a lot of the patch notes was that they have actually finally made a bit of a change to the bounciness, let's say, or the damage that you'll actually incur from hitting these tyre barriers. They actually behave a bit more like soft barriers now, as opposed to being tyre-shaped hard walls. And so we did see earlier on that that moment for Thomas Kuhl. He didn't really didn't sustain as much damage as we would have seen in previous weeks from hitting those tyres. So it's good to see that already coming into play.
Yeah, absolutely. Hats off to iRacing. They're constantly doing work to improve the physics of especially some of these things that we're still getting relatively new to the game, like tyre bundles and tyre barriers. And it's wonderful that we get improvements to those physics so that you don't hit the tyre bundle and your car explodes like it would if you hit a concrete barrier. So it's wonderful that we get these improvements, we get these changes. And it's brilliant that for Thomas Kuhl, the damage wasn't massive. He still would have come in and used a fast repair to get back on track as quickly as possible, but it would not have been anywhere near the extent that it would have been if it was still just those hard concrete-like walls. I believe if he had an impact like that, in the old, in a pre-update race, we would have had a safety car there because there was no way that car was going to come back to the pit lane.
No, and the fact that those tyre bundles do actually behave like tyres now, as opposed to just, being tyre-shaped concrete, it does make a difference, right? I don't know how much testing anyone's really done with it yet, but it does seem to have made a reasonable amount of difference where you can get away with, bouncing into some tyre barriers here and there. I mean, you still don't want to put one of these cars nose first at 300k an hour or anything like that, but it does mean that you're not going to write off your suspension by glancing off a tyre bundle. And also, as we see a big move up the inside, Matt Bowler, a bit of a lock of the brakes, and David Coleman's going to just go straight back underneath him and back up into 11th, so that'll continue. It does also mean that cars don't tend to rebound across the track quite as much as they used to when they hit those tyres, so it'll be interesting to see what difference that might make at certain corners where, historically, if you did see a car go into the tyres, they immediately sort of sprung back across to the other side of the track and took out people that were well off to the side. It's hopefully going to really improve that behaviour and have it a little bit more lifelike. Yeah,
that's iRacing is absolutely all about realism. I'm just watching a replay here now. This is Matt Bowler got up into the lockup that he had, so went past his teammate of Hayden Veld, and then carried the brake all the way in. Just broke really, really late. I don't know if he expected Jamie Dyke to be on the line that he was on, not entirely sure, but yeah, carried the brake in, and now Hayden Veld is all over the back of Jamie Dyke, who is less than a second away from Will Buchanan. So James Scott started to disappear into the distance now, and it's going to be a nice, exciting battle. Yeah, 2.3 seconds. It's going to be a nice, exciting battle for the last couple spots on the podium here. Ryan Palmer's 4.5 seconds away, so I don't know if he's going to factor in this, but you never know. If these guys battle for a little bit too long, Ryan Palmer could catch up quite quickly.
And Buchanan's going to really enjoy seeing this happening in the mirror. Dyke and Veld are really in it at the moment, but they're still carrying so much speed. Look at this, they're going to be side by side here. Veld's gone up alongside to Jamie Dyke. They bang doors on the way through the staircase. Jamie Dyke will stay on that right-hand side. As long as he can stay on the inside here, he should get a better run down this back straight, but Veld's going to push him all the way to the edge of the track. Plenty of room on the exit, and now it's a drag race. I think Jamie Dyke will have the better of it, and he gets his nose out in front and shuts that down, but geez, that was close. Hayden Veld definitely plenty of speed in that car tonight.
A lot of speed for Hayden Veld this evening. Jamie Dyke as well, looking pretty quick out there. These guys at the pointy end of the field. Slowdowns for Simon Capital and Josh Harris. They'll be serving those. I believe there was a couple of others. I think the slowdowns have been the trend of the evening, and will continue to be the trend of the evening. They will affect a lot of drivers. They'll maybe close up to the back of someone, push a little bit too hard through that first chicane, and then get themselves a slowdown. All their momentum is lost. Can also leave yourself vulnerable to losing a spot or two with those slowdowns, depending on how you clear them. I'm a little bit, I don't know whether I'm offended by this game or not when I go through the first chicane here at Adelaide and I get a slowdown and I clear it just by driving normally. I don't know exactly what it's trying to tell me, but maybe it's trying to tell me I'm driving too slow. But these guys definitely are not driving that slow. They have to let off the throttle a little bit to clear their slowdowns.
Yeah, look, I've never understood what the big deal is with slowdowns. Whenever I clear them, it's just from carrying on as usual. So I don't know what these guys are always complaining about.
Yeah, that's right. It just starts to clear itself as I continue to drive. I don't know. I don't have to change anything, so I don't know why these guys have to slow down so much. Honestly, it's really confusing. I think they should just keep doing what they're doing. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. They must be doing it wrong, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely them doing it wrong, not us, mate.
Yes, no, not us. We are, just ask us, we are perfect, we will tell you. This is Ryan Palmer.
A little defensive there, so he's feeling under a bit of pressure from Chasty at the moment.
He's not been able to ditch James Chastain the way that I think he was hoping he'd be able to. Sun's just come out now as well, so a bit of sunshine on the race surface, put a bit of heat back into that asphalt, or even more so. The track temperature currently about 25 degrees, the air temperature 19, so a nice cool Adelaide day. But I don't know, Ryan Palmer, I think he was probably hoping that he could get past James Chastain, clear him and start to create a little bit of an air bubble between himself and the championship leader, but that has just not happened. And James Chastain is I thought he was going to go for a move there into turn one. He certainly looked like it for a little while, but every single position counts for him in making sure that championship is as close to being done as it possibly can be. Matt Bowler's back up to 11th, almost into 10th. He's putting pressure on Brett Loxton at the moment. Here is his teammate Hayden Veld still searching for a way past Jamie Dyke up into third. And we have, this is the three really close battles on circuit at the moment. Hayden Veld, Jamie Dyke, James Chastanelf and Ryan Palmer, and Brett Loxton and Matt Bowler. And Matt Bowler trying to get into the top 10. If he gets this spot, he'll be on provisional pole for the second race coming up very shortly.
Only a few laps left to go, definitely running out of time, but here we go. Bowler's getting very, very tight up. We're going to have to make a move out the other side of this, surely. Will Loxton go defensive, though? Here comes Bowler, takes a big look up the inside, late under brakes. He's going to try and get alongside, gets it there, and forces Loxton out wide. A big slide on the way out, though, as he gets the power down. Manages to hold on to it and stay in front, and Loxton, I think, probably the smarter move there to just stay out of it, not get sideswiped, as Bowler tried to get that back under control. But now Matt Bowler will start to pull away out in front. It's it's Adelaide, right? It's such a difficult track to get a pass done, and you've really got to get your timing right. And Hayden Veld is finding that more than anyone at the moment. Jamie Dyke, his Mustang is at least twice the standard width of a Mustang, I reckon.
Yeah, he's got a very, very wide Fishy Motorsports Mustang. They've put the wide body package on this Ford Mustang supercar to make sure that it's just got a few extra millimeters either side to make it even harder for Hayden Veld to find a way past. But not to take anything away from Jamie Dyke, because we absolutely aren't at all. He has kept up with Will Buchanan throughout this battle, so he is still pushing on despite the pressure from Hayden Veld behind, which I think is absolutely helping him, because he's not really looking backwards as such. He's sort of also trying to focus forwards and look to gain himself a position, maybe put a car between himself and Hayden Veld, put the pressure on Will Buchanan. So this is some smart driving from Dyke, and we've got only a couple of laps to go now, only a handful of laps remaining. What will unfold here between these three who will come out on top? Brett Loxton is just looking to lose another position there, and he's losing time at a significant rate of knots. So Brett Loxton is going to come under pressure from Coleman here, and I'm just trying to work out, he's losing considerable amounts of time to Matt Bowler in quick succession there, so maybe something happened to Brett Loxton.
Yeah, I don't know if it's so much that or just that Bowler is that much quicker out of here. Getting a last gasp effort here from Thomas Hinds as well on Ben Morris. Morris is sliding all over the place, as is Hinds, and behind them Matt Bowler has caught this pair, and now this is going to be a pretty feisty little battle, I reckon. Both Hinds and Bowler very, very keen to get through. Ben Morris has really been a bit of a stopper here tonight in the flow of traffic. Quite a few times we've seen him be at the head of a group of cars, and yeah, it's been pretty tough. Have a look at this, nose to tail, Buchanan, Dyke and Veld. So Buchanan going defensive there into that hard braking zone, and no one quite getting out of the way. So just getting all sorts of caught up. That's going to slow these guys down even further. And it's actually paid off for Buchanan. It's given him a bit of a nudge along and opened that gap back up. And now Hayden Veld and Jamie Dyke will fight it out in just a moment's time as we get onto the final lap. This will be the last chance for Hayden Veld to make this pass. Jamie Dyke's got to hold on for one more. Will Buchanan feeling probably relatively comfortable at the moment. James Scott out in front by 6.2 seconds is untouchable.
Yeah, he has absolutely walked away with it, as he has multiple times this season. I just feel like maybe he doesn't always quite nail the race start, James Scott, but will get that spot back, absolutely, and then just walk away into the distance by over 6.5 seconds now. And look at this little group of cars pushing everything. Hayden Veld on the absolute edge of the grip limit of a V8 supercar, what you can do with it without just turning it around. And Matt Bowler, Ben Morris, Brett Loxton and Thomas Hinds all in a little battle for 8th place on the road as well. So that's all happening. Meanwhile, the battle for the podium yet to be resolved. James Scott well up into the distance. He should win this race, providing he keeps it out of the wall from here on in. I would imagine that he will. But who gets the last 2 spots on the podium, and how far forward does Matt Bowler go before this race is over?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? There's still a bit to be decided, although a fair bit of distance between most of these drivers. James Scott now just about to round the final corner. He'll come across the line and take the win. So in the end, fairly easy. Jamie Dyke now will try and hold on. Will Buchanan's had an error out of the final corner. He's dropped 2 spots, so Hayden Veld sneaks through. It'll be Jamie Dyke and Hayden Veld second and third. Will Buchanan drops back into 4th, so a real shame for him. Ben Morris gets pushed very, very wide on the exit there as well, and he drops further back, so Hins, Bowler and Loxton all go through. David Coleman, I think, might have been caught up in that and found himself pushed a little further back as well, as we wait for the rest of the field to come on through. And yeah, I don't know, just trying to see if we can get a bit of a view of what happened for Will Buchanan. Just at the end of that, the iRacing Designs replay will show us this here. Buchanan just runs very, very deep, locks the brake up just a little, and that's enough for Jamie Dyke and Hayden Veld to get through there.
It was close on the line between Veld and Buchanan. There was not much in it at all. I'm just going to go and check my live timing. That will give me the exact number between the two of them. 0.06 a second, so 6/100ths of a second between the two of them, and yeah, that's very close.
Yeah, absolutely nothing in that one. And James Scott takes another win, and we will be now getting into race number 2 for the evening. After a brief warm-up period between, or cool down, depending on how you look at it, I suppose, from a driver's perspective. But this is how it ended up for race number 1. James Scott takes the win by 7.6 seconds. In the end, just far too good. Jamie Dyke picks up a probably a little unexpected second place, but he was right there waiting for it. Will Buchanan finds himself down in 4th with Hayden Veld sneaking through as well, and as you can see, not much in it at all between Veld and Buchanan across the line. Ryan Palmer a long way back, but still picks up 5th. Then Shastanov in 6th will hold on to some pretty critical championship points there, ahead of Ryan Nielsen, Thomas Hins and Matt Bowler in 9th, with Brett Loxton in 10th, who will go to the front for the reverse grid in race number 2. Ben Morris and David Coleman just behind them, with Dane Stan and Will Brown. Then James Doyle comes in 15th. Dean Powell finishes ahead of Simon Caplet, so that's going to make Caplet's job just a little bit harder with the remaining races for that AM Cup Championship. Liam Jensen, Josh Harris and Brad Grant rounding out your top 20. Behind them, Thomas Kuhl was 1 lap down, Scott Watts 2 laps down, Chris McPhee and Paul Young, a shocker of a start for them here tonight, unfortunately. And I'm not sure if we will see either or both of them back for race number 2, but won't have been the start to their night they were hoping for.
No, will absolutely not be the start. Well, hopefully we will see them back out there for race number 2. I did some rough maths then quickly. About 140 Ks of racing coming up in this 38 lap race for these drivers. Just over 100, about 143 I think was the exact maths that I did. So it's going to be a long time in the car for these guys. But again, they'll look, some of them have done this last week. They did 78 laps around here. This is going to feel like an absolute cakewalk, but still, if rain comes, and we are expecting rain, Jared Cole, if the rain does arrive, this is going to be a real challenge for these guys, because it's going to be a dry track moving to a wet surface, or vice versa. 91% chance of rain out there. Look at that weather. It's currently overcast, so there shouldn't be any water on the track. But what happens from here? What will you do in terms of strategy, and how slippery are those white lines going to be? I have driven in the wet around this circuit before, and I can tell you those white lines are like ice. So the last thing they want to do, especially coming through turn 8 into turn 9, they will not want to touch any one of those white lines at all.
We're hearing that there was a bit of an issue with the safety car. Apparently, Ian Ward may have had a bit of a moment somewhere around the way there, but anyhow, we'll have to wait and see.
Fix that for race 2.
Well, yeah. Look, thankfully the Mercedes mechanics are right there and waiting, and we all know Mercedes are super simple to work on.
They're straightforward vehicles. They're not complicated whatsoever.
Look, the good news is that Simon Caplet, of course, French Car Care. They're not quite a French car, but Germany and France, close enough. I'm pretty sure that Kaplan and crew can give a hand if needed. I was going to say, Mitch Curry's jumping into the YouTube chat, just asked the question. I imagine that Ian has hit the wall on the way into pit entry with the safety car. Is probably what's happening in the background there. In any case, folks, we are just about a minute away from gridding up for race number 2. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back after this message from our main sponsors.
Struggling to get your business online? At Domains2U, we make it easy with fast domain registration, powerful web hosting, and top-tier security solutions. Our hosting solutions ensure speed, security, and reliability with 99.9% uptime and daily backups. Find the perfect domain name and get online in minutes. Get started today at domains2u.com.au.
Welcome back, ladies and gents. Isaac and I just giving our voices a little rest there and giggling along to the conversation going on in the chat as Mitch Curry of MC Motorsport just discusses with the race control team who exactly is paying for the panels on that Mercedes safety car. I don't really know who cops that one. Maybe some better insurance needed on the car, but in any case, it's something for us to have a bit of a look at some stage. I can't go back and grab your replay right now, Mitch, but I will make sure that a replay finds its way into the MC Motorsport Discord, which if you are watching along at home and you'd like to get involved, take a look down below. There's a link there and you can join on in, and why not? We're about to get underway for race number 2, so let's take a look at the grid as the drivers do start to line up for this longer second race. Brett Loxton and Matt Bowler will take the front row ahead of Hinz and Nielsen, then Chastanov and Palmer in the middle of the top 10. Will Buchanan and Hayden Bell behind them, Jamie Dyke and James Scott 9th and 10th respectively. The rest of the field will start in their finishing order from race number 1, so Morris and Coleman just outside the top 10 with Snadden and Brown behind them. James Doyle and Dean Power line up ahead of Simon Kaplan and Liam Jensen. Then Josh Harris and Brad Grant rounding out the top 20, which I'm almost certain is where they started last time. But that could be my memory failing me. Thomas Cool and Scott Watts, 21st and 22nd with Cruz McPhee and Paul Young behind them. Ian Ward, I'm not sure if he's going to be handed the keys to the safety car again, but if so, he'll be waiting in the wings. Nathan Allen and Isaac Edwards might just be debating between themselves whether they do let him back into the seat or not.
Yeah, I think Nathan Allen might say, I think it's my turn to take control of the safety car. Thank you very much, thanks young fella, and jump behind the wheel. And because I can confirm as well, looking at the tyres that all the drivers are going with, it is wet out there, Jared Cole. So we're hoping for some wet racing this evening at Adelaide, and we have absolutely had our prayers answered, because look at the rain. It is absolutely bucketing down. It is going to be a very, very tricky racetrack to try and navigate with all this 20-degree track temperature. So the track temperature is cooled right down. You can see on the radar there, I believe where it stops is where the rain currently is, if I'm not mistaken. So that's the current state.
We're kind of just about to hit some much heavier rain, actually. With apologies, I can't influence the colour scheme that iRacing use quite so much.
No,
but
that's fine.
It is about to get very, very wet out there. We've had a sprinkling so far with plenty more rain on the way. We are about to get underway for race number 2. Brett Loxton and Matt Bowler will lead us on down for the first time into the turn 1 chicane, and this, hold on to your hats folks, because I suspect this is about to get very, very interesting. Let's see if we all survive this as they come on through for the first time. Are we going to see cars flipping through the air here, or are we all going to make it through? And I think everyone's actually, look at this. Would you believe that they've all taken it a little bit easy?
I don't believe it. Look, very loose there from, I think that was Brett Loxton trying to get on the curb. This James Chastain now very, very wide, almost in the wall. So there's quite a lack of grip out there, which is what we expected early on in this one. Matt Bowler, Ryan Nielsen disappearing up the road. James Chastanel's going to jump into third. Ryan Palmer's trying to go with him. Thomas Hinz as well. Brett Loxton is struggling in these conditions at the start here. Ryan Palmer searching for some grip offline. The fastest way to get around the track now will be off the conventional racing line. So they will look for anywhere on this track that has any sort of grip in these wet conditions. It's only going to get wetter, folks. And I made the comment earlier, F1 would not be racing in these conditions. Very, very deep in under brakes. 3 wide through the hairpin in wet is not something. That is not something I would expect to see. That is Ryan Palmer trying to go for a move on Brett Loxton. He might lose a spot to Thomas Hinz. He does. So Ryan Palmer being they're all pushing around. The gloves are off. No one's really taking it easy in terms of how they battle. I think everyone might be going a little bit slower, but certainly no one's taking it easy with the battles here early on. They are absolutely gloves off, and James Scott wants a piece of it as well.
A little bit slower is an understatement. Have a look at that. Matt Bowler sets the fastest lap at 1 minute 39 on that opening lap. That is a good 19 seconds slower than what we saw in race 1 in dry conditions. So certainly the opening laps are very, very tentative at the moment as everyone just tries to figure out just how much grip there really is available. In the background, we've got David Coleman is around. So he's made contact there somewhere with another car, and he's struggling to get it moving again by the look of things. He's trying to get it underway, but he'll have to find his way back from a long way down in the field here. Back up front though, Hayden Veld, James Scott side by side. So Scott is trying everything to get back towards the front, well, apologies, actually, Ryan Palmer and James Scott alongside each other there. They get it sorted out before that fast right-hander. And well, look at this, Ryan Palmer's not done yet. He has a look up the inside. He wants that spot back, and he's going to throw everything at Scott there. Bit of a touch, and Ryan Palmer goes around. James Scott's going to redress. That's a really awkward spot to try and redress it, and you've got to think at that point, surely he just continues on and cops the penalty later, because it's going to cost him far more than that if he does stop. Have a look at this group coming through though. We've got Koala Cartel cars in amongst it all. We've got one into the wall. That looks like, who's that? Liam Jensen maybe, who ended up in the wall there. We are not done with this by a long shot. Dane Snadden just jumps back to the inside. Cruz McPhee back around the outside and looking for a way through the front end, getting fairly spaced out. It's all in this mid-pack now where we're still trying to figure out just who is going to take which position. Lots of slowdowns coming though through the chicane.
Yeah, that's look, it's I think the wet conditions, it always brings a little bit out of the drivers. We had a comment earlier from Mitch Crow, they're all driving about 5 k's an hour. I certainly think they're trying to up the speed ever so slightly now as the lap times get a little bit quicker. Reminder folks, the rain is scheduled to get heavier very, very soon. So these conditions that we're in, certainly not the heaviest. That's Brad Grant going past Dane Snadden. And Brad Grant having to serve is he serving a slowdown, getting out of the way?
No, Dane Snadden snap oversteer. But look at Harris in the background. He goes to avoid, and it gets pushed sideways by Paul Young.
It's all happening, ladies and gentlemen, in the wall as Ryan Palmer goes through on his teammate. Josh Harris still sitting up there. I think he's finally got that car. Well, he's got it straightened back out, and he's rolling once again. This is very, 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 very frustrating times for ADHD, but also just there's a lot happening in wet racing. It does bring chaos. It does bring excitement and action. Thomas Hinz going defensive here on Will Buchanan. Matt Bowler leads this race by about 3.5 seconds from James Chastanel. He's just done the fast lap of the race, a 1:32.3. In contrast, we're doing 1 minute 20s in a dry qualifying session. So this is about 13 seconds slower than what we would expect to see in terms of a lap time here in the dry. So wet conditions certainly proving to be a challenge early on. It's only going to get worse. We're predicting, looking at my numbers, up the inside, or around the outside, Will Buchanan going to little touch of the wall. It's going to open the door for Jamie Dyke to go on through. James Scott does not attack there. I'm not sure if that's for, I'm not entirely sure what the reasoning behind that was. Oh, because you have a safety car. There we go. That's why he did not attack. And this is going to throw my maths into a bit of disarray here, and this is why. So Josh Harris heavy into.
Oh.
Could he not stop it, or was that a strategic choice there from Josh Harris to? That's a strange one.
Wow, that's a
huge hit.
Massive hit. I
Massive
have
hit.
absolutely no idea what has happened there, but that car is crumpled, and it looks as though. Look, I can't not do this with apologies to Ian Ward. Has Ward had a bit of an issue in the safety car on the way out of the pits? Or have they just decided to? I wonder if that thing's actually on dry tyres, because it does actually look as though Nathan Allen has come out onto the track as the safety car driver. So all sorts of madness going on there.
It's all happening.
I did make a pretty distinct promise earlier to a few of the drivers that in the event of ADHD incidents, we'd see at least a few different angles. So the iRacing Designs replay will pick this up. I don't think. Look at this. Harris just spears through. I really wonder whether there's been a hardware malfunction there or something, because I'm not convinced he was even trying to pull that up. We'll take a look from inside the cockpit. Watch very carefully. Does it look like the wheel disconnects here or something? Just straight on. Just absolutely straight on.
And at no point has that wheel turned or anything. It's just gone straight on.
And not moving there at all either. I think he's had a hardware issue there.
That is devastating for Josh Harris, and a very heavy impact into the wall. So he's now back in the pit lane, and I'd say his evening may be over if he cannot resolve those hardware issues. Just before that safety car, Jared, here we go, another replay. We get yet another angle of this massive hit for Josh Harris, and bang into the tyre wall. We spoke about how the tyre barriers are softer now. I don't think they're that soft.
Softer, for sure.
Softer, but not that soft. And that is a massive hit into the wall for Josh Harris. Completely ruined the front end. I was going to make mention before the safety car that we would get about, with the 40 laps we have scheduled here, it was looking like about 102 minutes for the race, based on my mathematics, based on the lap times they were doing in the dry. And looking at the session, we have a time certain of 105 minutes. So we are at risk here, I think, Jared Cole, of going time certain with this safety car.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a close thing, isn't it? There won't be much in it.
No, and that's what I'm just... because that can change the strategy a little bit for these drivers as well. They will obviously have race fuel calculated, and their automatic fuel calculators done based on the amount of laps in this race. And if this race does go time certain and we lose laps, that is the potential for drivers to save time in the pit lane if they're not quite aware of that situation. There could be drivers that maybe attempt to underfuel and find themselves in a little bit of a better situation strategy-wise.
Well, only 6 laps in, there's plenty of time to figure out what that strategy might look like. Geez, I don't know. Is it too early for any of these drivers to really be thinking about it? What we are seeing is quite a number of drivers have come in and made a pit stop under the safety car here. So Will Brown, Ryan Nielsen, Dane Snadden, Paul Young, Scott Watts, Brad Grant, David Coleman, although I suspect a few of those drivers perhaps needing some repairs done from earlier incidents as well. But everyone from 17th onwards effectively having made a pit stop there. We're just getting confirmation in the YouTube chat that it was indeed a hardware failure from Harris.
Yep.
And yeah, look, Roy, a fair point. You know, in a lot of cases you do see in the event of a hardware failure the wheel snaps left in that onboard view, but it does also depend on how the failure is actually read by iRacing. You know, if the USB itself doesn't actually disconnect, then yeah, it could be that it's just not registered him turning it, but the devices still remain connected. So it's a really tricky one. Matty Morgan saying, yeah, we're definitely time critical now. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think we are probably looking at a time certain finish here as we see Nathan Allen go back into the pit lane with the safety car. So we'll be going green in just a moment. Matt Bowler, unfortunately, the lead that he'd built up with James Chasseneuve has been brought undone by that safety car. And so now, all of a sudden, it's just all compressed right back up. Biggest winner out of that, I think, is probably Simon Kaplan, who's found himself up in 9th.
Yeah, absolutely. He's gained a lot of spots here, and we get a restart, so we are underway once again. And yeah, look, that I did see on that replay for Josh Harris as well, a slight jink of the wheel just before he reached the braking zone. So that very well could have been the disconnect that, probably wasn't a massive snap to the right, but it was a little bit. And this is in the background, Hayden Veld and Brett Loxton. So Hayden Veld wasting absolutely no time trying to find a way past the reigning champion and up into 3rd for Hayden Veld. And this will be crucial because he's now riding behind James Chasseneuve, who's trying to put pressure on Matt Bowler. And if Hayden Veld can make a little bit of a gap here to Brett Loxton, he can put some pressure on James Chasseneuve, turn the tables on the championship leader in his efforts to try and get to the front of this field.
The rain's starting to fall heavier now. We'll take another look at the radar. We are right in the middle of some of the heaviest rainfall that we're expecting to see here. And it does not look like it's going to let up completely at all for the rest of this race. So I suspect we're going to see a pretty challenging set of circumstances here tonight as Jamie Dyke gets a little bit of a touch there from Will Buchanan behind. They do get it sorted out before they get to the braking zone. Buchanan a big wiggle, as does Simon Caplet behind. And you can see where the water is starting to just collect on the surface a little bit. And it's going to get really, really challenging for these drivers in a hurry now as the rain buckets down here at Adelaide.
Yeah, if this was Formula 1, we would be under red flag conditions at the moment. There's no way they'd be racing in this level of rain.
They
But we're
don't
in
race in
supercars.
anything. It's not that red out there, come on.
Formula 1's turning into NASCAR. I think they just refuse to race in the rain. But no, we are supercars, and supercars, they'll race in rain, hail or shine. It is perfect conditions for a front engine, rear wheel drive, no traction control, no ABS supercar. I could not think of anything better to be driving at the moment on a street circuit than one of these things. And how these guys navigate these conditions will be absolutely a testament to their skill this evening. And the drivers that manage to just be patient on that throttle application especially will come out on top here. Dane Statham loses a spot to Will Brown, might lose another spot here to Paul Young, who's up the inside through 6. Can he hold on into 7? I think Dane Statham's just ahead. So these guys caught up in earlier incidents have pitted to repair that damage, get some fuel in the car, maybe potentially get to the end of this race. And you can see there, folks, we are 13 minutes into the 105. We have done 8 laps in this race, so we've done a fairly large number. That was a big moment. Very big moment.
He managed to hold on to it, but only just. Thought he was going to go into the wall there.
Yeah, he's done well to keep that out of the wall. Absolutely. Yeah, 14 minutes into this race, 8 laps. But if we get to, if we get to 20 minutes and we're close to, well, if we get to 10 laps and we're close to 20 minutes, that's an 80-minute race. We don't have that sort of time. Up the inside, is that Ryan Palmer? It is on Cruz McVie. And Ben Morris, also in front. Ryan Palmer could fancy himself an overtake on Ben Morris as well, but not quite able to. And on the way into turn 1, he's right under that rear wing. Up the inside, Hayden Veld. So that's on James Chasseneuve. That's a key overtake for the Eclipse Sim Sports cars, and now demotes James Chasseneuve down another spot. Hayden Veld has got a lot of pace in the wet here. He is absolutely flying at the moment, and will now look towards his teammate to maybe try and get himself up into the lead, because he has got, as I said, a lot of pace in the wet.
Yeah, and look, not a bad sign at all for Matt Bowler that he's staying out in front. Look at this group though. We're side by side at the moment. Look at the rear wheels just dancing around on the surface. They're side by side here. Someone's going to have to make a decision. Thomas Hinz stays in it. Will Buchanan backs out. They're going to survive this corner, but only just as Hinz goes defensive. Then in the background, there's James Scott. He wants to get the move done on Jamie Dyke. Side by side, heavy under brakes. Look for the rain to play its part here as they try and get the power down on the exit. James Scott goes through and up into 7th. Ahead of them, Will Buchanan and Thomas Hinz. still battling it out. And look, Adelaide is not kind at the best of times. Trying to make these passes stick in these conditions, I feel like we're just a hair's breadth away from another safety car here. I just can't decide who it's going to be.
Yeah, I think there could be anything at any time happening with these safety cars here. It is very, very wet. You can see now the surface water that's starting to appear, and just one wrong move, one driver that's slightly too wide, especially coming in here. Look at Thomas Hinz. He's trying to find any sort of grip through the first chicane, and look at the puddles on the exit of turn 3. There is a lot of standing water. You're braking on white painted lines. Oh, it's car around. There we go. So there's Brett Loxton facing the wrong way. He's going to lose a bunch of spots at turn 4, and they're all going to arrive here. And he's absolutely in the center of the road. Someone is going to drive. That's Ryan Nielsen just avoiding. Here they come into the corner. Bang! That is Will Brown making contact with the front of Brett Loxton. Brett Loxton needs to get that car out of the way now while there's a gap. Flick spin the car around. There we go. The rain is so heavy, and it was only a matter of time before that happened.
Yeah, look, got pretty lucky, honestly, to avoid much more in the way of contact there. Out in front, the Eclipse Imports cars have found each other 4 seconds back to Chastanov. And then further back, have a look at this. James Doyle, Cruz McVee side by side. Oh, big moment there for Doyle under brakes. Cruz McVee slides it in opposite lock under brakes, and again on the exit under power. I'll tell you what, none of these guys are easing up just because it's a little bit damp out there.
No one is going easier at the moment because it is wet. They are absolutely pushing on with it. You can see the spray is starting to get massive now as they drive through the puddles, especially. The spray is kicking up. This is Cruz McVee up the inside of Simon Caplet. He's going to miss the apex. No, he's pulled it up. How has he managed to do that, Cruz McVee? I thought for sure he was going to carry too much speed through that corner and continue through, but he's managed to get the car stopped at the final corner, pull it up, and now look at the standing water out on the track. This is so wet. They are absolutely crawling. They're still doing 33, so it's still relatively quick pace, but they are struggling at the moment.
And I suspect, we'll take another look at the radar, but I suspect we're probably, we're still right in the thick of the bulk of the rain. The little gap that looked like it was going to open up has pretty promptly closed, and we're just going to get more and more of this rain. It's just going to build up plenty of puddles around this surface as we see them all sliding out of the back of the staircase section. It's going to be a really, really tough second half of this race. And I don't know that the conditions are going to get that much better. I don't think we're going to see this water clear. I don't know if we're going to get much of a dry line here or any opportunity. Look at all the water on the braking zone here at the end of that back straight. There's only a couple of spots that they can really pick apart there and not find themselves going sliding. This is going to be a lot of work for these drivers, and I suspect we're going to be talking to some very, very tired race winners after this one.
Yeah, look, I think this is a different kind of side-by-side Paul Young, Liam Jensen, and up in front there's cars going side-by-side as well. Side-by-side Ryan Palmer up the inside into the final corner, and Jamie Dyke. Ryan Palmer is thriving in these conditions as well. He's up to 7th place, 8th place at the moment as he drag races down the straight. Not able to get past Jamie Dyke on that occasion, but he is taking like a duck to water here in these conditions and absolutely thriving. Time penalty, 5-second time penalty for car 281. That is Will Buchanan for contact lap 10 at turn 4, which is this corner here. So I believe that was the contact with Brett Loxton. So that is the penalty that is coming the way of Will Buchanan. And I didn't actually hear if there was a result of what happened with James Scott and Ryan Palmer from earlier on. So maybe race control could let us know if there was an outcome of that, or whether that was deemed a racing incident, because I hadn't seen anything that came through. So curious to know if there was an outcome or a verdict reached for that. This is a replay of what exactly Will Buchanan just carries so much speed into the corner, couldn't get it stopped, and made contact with Brett Loxton as a result. He's just sort of stranded. At this point, you just have to sit there, don't you, Charlie? You can't really afford to move, and you just hope no one hits you.
Yeah, you take your hands off the wheel and you cross your fingers, and you just hope that everyone gets through without actually hitting your car. As we see, Cruz McVee now makes the move up the inside. Ryan Palmer, who has to avoid Thomas Hinz, who runs wide on the exit. Look at the puddle there. at the apex. That is exactly what these drivers don't want to see. Hitting a puddle of that size at the apex of any of these turns, when you're already at full load on the tyres, it's going to make life really, really difficult. This is not going to be an easy race with still, 45 minutes till time certain. We've still got another, 27 odd laps to run as well. It doesn't matter which way you slice this. There is a long, long way to go before we reach the checkered flag.
Yes, and indeed, and lap times are getting slower. So into the lane comes Will Brown. He's decided this time to get a pit stop. No, it's Thomas Hinz actually coming to the lane. My mistake. And he's now back out on the circuit. Oh, it's car around. That's Cruz McVie. So that's one of the Koala Cartel cars. I didn't quite see what happened there, whether he got helped. I was too busy looking at the data screen. But he's just, again, this is a situation where you just have to sit there and wait, don't you, for the train to go through before you can flip the car around and keep going.
Yeah, we'll go back and we'll take a look. The iRap Designs replay, we'll pick this up. I think he's done it all on his own. Just a little bit too much asked for those rear tyres. Look at the amount of water sitting in the gutters here.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's
even on the racing line.
Yeah, everywhere. Honestly, everywhere around Adelaide. And McVie just backs it up to try and clear the racing line and to get back underway. Out in front.
Look at that.
Though.
Look at the water.
Oh, there's
at the final corner
so
as well.
much everywhere, and it's going to continue to build here. I don't think we're going to see those puddles clear at all here tonight, and that will make for some very interesting moments. What it does mean is that this race could turn absolutely upside down for any of these drivers at any moment. You know, they're going to have to push on, and you can see how much the Eclipse Sim Sports guys are doing exactly that out in front as they slide it on the exit of basically every corner. Look at how much these cars are struggling for grip here at the moment. Matt Bowler has a good lead built up, but just watch closely here. Hayden Veld on the exit. Let's see if he actually manages to keep it straight. He does that time around. But they are absolutely trying to extract all the pace that they can out of these cars at the moment in some treacherous conditions.
Yeah, it is. Big slide through 8 for Matt Bowler. Hayden Veld follows him. And just look as we get to 9, the standing water all around this circuit that's going to continue to build. I will not be surprised if we start to see rivers running across this track very, very soon with the amount of water that is on this race circuit. Look at the exit of this corner here. You've got no choice but to drive through it. You're trying to get the power down while you're driving through a puddle, and most people would know at the best times in a road car it's hard to get the power down in the wet. Trying to do it in a supercar with no assist whatsoever. This is Ryan Palmer all over the back of Jamie Dyke. This is a man that absolutely loves these conditions, Ryan Palmer, and he wants to capitalise. He had a wet race a few weeks ago, I believe in ASR, and he just wasn't able to capitalise in the wet quite the same way. So he's looking for redemption, I believe, here tonight. But look at the standing water on the exit there of the corner and down the front straight. It is absolutely ridiculous how much water there is out on that circuit. And the fact that these cars are still going in a straight line, they can get the power down without immediately spinning it, is impressive. Both these drivers get a slow down. So Ryan Palmer wants to try and clear his as quickly as possible, whereas Jamie Dyke's, I think, trying to carry it on a little bit. Ryan Palmer has 2 goes at trying to turn into the corner here. This is absolutely treacherous. These drivers are working overtime to get these cars to continue going in a straight line, folks.
And just seeing how much Palmer's having to work the wheel here just to keep it straight. Beyond that, you watch as they get onto the back straight here, get a little bit of speed into it, and just watch the ability for Palmer to see the road ahead disappear. Like this is terrifying. One of the fastest parts of this circuit. You can see him sitting out just a little bit further so he can try and spot the turn-in point here, this fast right-hander, but they're taking it at 170k an hour, almost completely blind from the spray for the car in front. It's not a lot of fun, but it's a nice challenge to have. It's something a little bit different for these guys at the tail end of what has been a very tough season with a lot of work throughout, but I don't think we've seen conditions quite like this yet.
No, I don't think I've ever seen conditions like this on a racing surface, especially at Adelaide. This is very, very wet and heavy under brakes. This is the part of the track that I think looks the worst through this final corner. Look at the standing water on the exit of this corner. is taking up a lot of the racing surface. There is not a lot of room to escape standing water there, and you can see there's cars sitting in the pit lane. There's safety cars in the pit lane as well. So Scott Watts is in the pits. Dean Powell is last. Simon Caplet, crucially though, for his championship, is in 8th place at the moment and holding his own quite well. This is James Scott. James Scott up the inside of James Chastanoff. So putting the pressure on here, trying to get himself up into the podium places. He's got 10 seconds up the road to his Eclipse Sim Sports teammates who are still battling for the lead of this race. And now finally gets the move done. So puts another car between James Chastanoff and Matt Bowler, his championship rival. But Hayden Veld, I think he's pushing hard. He is determined to try and get to the front of this race.
Yeah, and I doubt they're even chatting as a team at the moment. We know that Veld has a bit of a tendency to sit off in the Koala Cartel voice chat and have a bit of a
Sabrina going.
Yeah, he absolutely does. I guarantee if we had the audio feed from his earphones right now in that car, it'd be nothing but Sabrina Carpenter's best hits, whichever those ones are. I'm not sure that there are any, but I'm sure he'll correct me on that later.
There's a lot.
Nielsen and Doyle side by side. This is a really awkward spot to find yourself. Nielsen around the outside. He's going to have to back out of that, surely. There is no way he can hang on to that. Simon Caplet in 8th is doing a fantastic job at the moment. Up 9 positions. He is actually the driver that has moved the furthest up in that top 10. Ben Morris has gone very wide. Might have found himself just nudging the wall there as he drops down to 16th. And the conditions continue to take their toll on these cars.
Yeah, that they certainly do. It is, it's not ideal for these cars at all. As Matty Morgan says, slipping and sliding out there at the moment, and they certainly are. They are exercising wonderful car control just to keep them pointing in a forwards direction. Ryan Nielsen putting so much pressure on James Doyle. The first of the cars in this field to stop is actually Ryan Nielsen. So he is the first of the cars that have stopped in this race. Himself and Paul Young, right in behind, have toured the pit lane at some stage here. We're approaching the half an hour mark. We've got about 3 minutes before we get to the half an hour mark. If we can get 20 laps in before we get to about 32 and a half minutes, which is a tall ask, but it maybe can be done. I'm not sure. I'm trying to quickly do the maths in my head. We could avoid going time certain here, but it'll be close. I think we're going to be very close to a time certain. If we get another safety car, that definitely will be time certain. This is Ryan Palmer. He's been trying this for a while. He is really, really working hard to get past Jamie Dyke, who continues to exercise, or to put to good use, I should say, the wide body kit that they fitted to that Fishy Motorsports Mustang, because Ryan Palmer cannot find a way past.
Doyle and Nielsen at it again, the same turn side by side again. Nielsen, a bit of a nudge there, just avoids the tyre barrier. And nothing in that. James Doyle's just struggling to keep that car in a straight line. He hits the water. You see immediately the car just lurches to the right. He's managed to hold on to it, but that's all the invitation that Nielsen needs to stay up the inside, and he'll pick up that spot. Finally gets up into 9th, and now James Doyle will be on the chase.
Yep, he's got a chance to set after Ryan Nielsen. If he can get in front of Ryan Nielsen, he'll be in a prime spot to try and get past Simon Caplet as well. But Ryan Nielsen is doing everything he can to capitalise on the fact that he has already stopped, and everyone in front of him, I would imagine, still does need to come in for a pit stop. So Ryan Nielsen could be in a very commanding position here in terms of where he'll sit once it all works out in terms of stops. He could be close to the back of that top 5. So this could be a really good strategy. This is the lead of the race at the moment. Hayden Veld all over the back of Matt Bowler still. They have about 9 seconds back to James Scott. These guys are lapping in the 33s. The last time around, James Scott was in the 32s, and he did his fastest lap of the race with a 32.7. So despite it being really, really wet out there, they are lapping at a phenomenal rate at the moment.
Yeah, definitely keeping the times looking pretty quick at the moment. I'm trying to figure out, and I don't know that I can do it without a pen and paper nearby, but I guess I'm just wondering what the fuel situation is going to be for a lot of these drivers. You know, obviously a much slower pace, so potentially a fair bit less fuel usage, but I wonder if anyone's going to be able to get away without actually stopping over 40 laps. I can't imagine they would. That'd be a huge, huge ask. Simon Caplet comes into the pit lane. Dane Snadden has had an issue as well. We'll go back and check that out. The IRAP design replay. As we have a bit of a moment with our broadcast software, but Sam just getting a little bit too deep there.
Yeah, just
I think we are back on track. Bowler and Veld.
Yeah, here we
It's
go.
interesting. Bowler's defending pretty hard here. Veld is absolutely pushing to get past, as we see just a little bit of sun peeking through the clouds. Have a look at this though. Jamie Dyke's going to send it up the inside of Ryan Palmer in just a moment, I'm sure.
Yeah, Jamie Dyke is, Ryan Palmer is past Jamie Dyke now, and Jamie Dyke will want to make a point of this into 9. Breaking on the white line, that's dangerous for Ryan Palmer, but he does get the car pulled up and stopped, and yeah, Jamie Dyke will absolutely want to make a point for that, but Ryan Palmer has worked hard for that. They have lost a lot of time to the cars in front with that battle, and Ryan Palmer, hopefully now that he's in front, he can, he'd already had that done by that point as well, so it's been a little bit of disconnection issues there for Ryan Palmer, but he'd already had that done coming into the first few corners, so I think Jamie Dyke's just trying to make a point of it. Ryan Palmer will hope now that he can utilise that pace to start to pull clear and make some time back up on Will Buchanan in front.
And Coleman and Chris McPhee go through the... Look, I'm almost inclined to consider that a bit of a puddle of death there, but it hasn't caught anyone out yet, which has been honestly the most surprising thing. Just on the way out of what is it, 9 there, I think. There's a really big puddle on the apex of 10. That big slide for Cruz McPhee as he gets it straightened back up. I'm not sure how, but he's managed to hold on to that. This is what we're going to continue to see here as the rain continues to fall on the Adelaide street circuit. There is no dry line. There is no safe place here anywhere between these concrete walls. You are going to find water absolutely everywhere around this track at the moment, and it's just going to continue to hamper the efforts of a lot of these drivers to put in some quick times as Palmer and Dyke continue this battle. It just doesn't stop. Palmer maybe a little bit wide of the apex there, but who knows where the apex is at this point in time in these conditions.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You don't know, do you? You don't know. I think you have to sort of make up your own racing line. The actual conventional racing line here will not be as quick, but there is parts of this circuit that are only one line. We are towards the back end of the heavier stuff now, so it will start to get lighter, but I'd imagine the rain will stick around. We are on lap 21, so again, right on the bubble of a time certain finish for this race, so will we get the full 40 laps in? Remains to be seen. I think if we get another safety car, definitely not.
No, not with another safety car, absolutely not. If we can stay clean all the way from here, I think we're going to find ourselves finishing this one up in about lap 36, I reckon, when you consider that most of these drivers will have a pit stop to undertake at some stage. I can't imagine they're going to get away without one. It probably won't be quite as much of a stop as it could have been if they had been, in dry conditions and pushing on a little bit harder. But that is the nature of racing in these sort of conditions. It just does change that strategy ever so slightly.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They need... I'm trying to do maths, but it is absolutely not working for me at the moment. And David Coleman, heavy under brakes, carries a little bit too much speed, spins the car, which is very easy to do, and I'm surprised we haven't seen more of that this evening. But gets a flick spin back around, continues on, and he'll still be out there. Hayden Veld still on the back of Matthew Bowler here, so about 35 minutes remaining, and I'm going to do my best, folks, to work out how many laps we could fit in that 35 minutes if we stay green from here, just to get us a little bit of numbers, because we've just started the 22nd lap of the race, so about as close as we can get. This is Jamie Dyke. Jamie Dyke has not let Ryan Palmer pull away. Ryan Palmer is slowly reeling in Will Buchanan in front, but Jamie Dyke is going with him.
Yeah, and it'll be very interesting to see what happens when this turns into a 3-car battle, won't it? Because the two of them have been back and forth a couple of times here. Dyke picks up a slowdown through the chicane, so he's going to have to try and burn that off without losing touch with Palmer now. But if they do find themselves catching Buchanan in the next few laps, this is going to get really, really interesting. it does give whoever's in front a bit of an opportunity to use Buchanan as almost a block in between the two of them. If they can get past and do it at a point where it gets the other driver stuck behind Buchanan, then that could really change the way this battle looks. As it stands now, though, with just the two of them nearby each other on track, there is absolutely nothing in it here.
Yeah, there's nothing in it here at all. From this point, we should get about another 19 laps, so it would be very, very close to time certain. Jamie Dyke looks around the outside. Can he make the move? Stick? No, he can't. He runs very deep into the corner, and Ryan Palmer, as a result, on the inside line, just manages to hold on. Maybe in the dry conditions, Jamie Dyke could have held on to that a little bit better than he was able to, but in the wet, it certainly is a very grip limited.
Oh, there's that puddle.
Oh, look at this! Look at the spray off that puddle, just absolutely throwing water back at Jamie Dyke, trying to blind him through that little left-hander, and off this corner as well. I'm glad they're not going as fast as they are through that corner, because there's a lot of standing water off the final corner down the front straight. And you look at Jamie Dyke, he pulls a little bit to the right-hand side of sitting behind Ryan Palmer just to get out of the spray somewhat.
And it's just constant, isn't it? I mean, the view from our roof-mounted camera is one thing. Get on board with these guys and you understand just how blind they really are through a lot of the higher speed sections. And this is probably the one place on the track where you'd be a bit thankful for it being a slower speed section with the left-right nature of this staircase. Oh, big slide for Ryan Palmer. Jeez, he's just held on to that. I'm surprised that Jamie Dyke couldn't take a little more advantage of that, but I suspect he was probably having a pretty similar issue there, although he does get a good run, and they're going to be side by side here. Now, here's the question. Who goes where? And yeah, Dyke backs out of the high-speed ride, as he should. There is a bit of a ruling around who has the, let's call it, right of way through that corner in particular. But
around the outside.
He's trying it again. Jamie Dyke clearly feels like there's a bit more grip to be had out there.
Yes, he certainly does. While this has all been happening, James Scott has done the fast up of the race at 1:32.2, so he is pushing on.
And again, it's 32.1.
That is brightening up out there. That's a little bit of shadows I could see on the circuit. So
yeah, look, the sun's out, but the rain is still falling.
Rain is still. It's a sun shower now, but that hopefully means the temperature might come up a little bit. Track temperature has raised slightly, only by a couple of degrees. We're up to almost 22 degrees in track temperature now. But a bit of sunlight might be what we need just to try and get rid of some of the surface water.
You are very optimistic, my friend. I don't think it's going anywhere. Look at the oversteer from Jamie Dyke. Full opposite lock on the exit and keeps it straight. These guys are working so hard here to keep this pace up and to keep these cars between the lines and out of the wall. Nothing in it there for Jamie Dyke. I reckon that was about as close as you come to just flipping one of these cars in these conditions. But he's held on to it. What's more, he's actually closed right in behind Palmer as well.
He's right in behind Ryan Palmer, isn't he? He is pushing with everything he can to try and get past the ADHD driver once again. He's going to have a look into 8. That's not the place you want to try and go for an overtake, not in these conditions at all. Can he set himself up on the exit at 8, though? He might have to go the long way again. Ryan Palmer parks it in the middle of the road to be a little bit defensive. Also get himself off of braking on the white lines. Jamie Dyke, on this occasion, isn't able to even get the car around the outside, so has to settle in just right in behind Ryan Palmer. And look, this battle is going to go on till the end of the race. That for certain is for certain. While we were doing that, Will Buchanan has come in and served a pit stop, so he's the first of this little group at the front. And Ryan Palmer now makes the decision. So he's decided enough is enough. It is time to come in and make my pit stop. And I think you could see, look at the standing order on the way into the pit lane as well. That could be a challenge for some drivers as well.
Yeah, I'm not going to be surprised if we do see a bit of issue. I think Buchanan's come in to get some damage repaired because he's actually nothing in that. Will Brown follows him straight in. So whether they've hit the same patch of water there, I'm not sure. This is Will Brown behind. Yeah, see that puddle just on the left there, and it's really throwing off the ability for these guys to get the braking done on the way into that corner. This is what changes in these conditions, right? Your braking markers need to move around. Your braking effort needs to change each and every lap as the track surface changes as well. because what you could do last lap may not actually work for you this time around. It just really depends on how much water has been shifted by other cars on the way through. As we see Jamie Dyke just bouncing off the wall there. He's pushing on hard. He knows that he has to keep the pace up here to avoid Ryan Palmer coming up with a pretty sizable undercut. We know the undercut's strong with these supercars. The question is, will it be that strong in these conditions? That I'm not so convinced of, but I reckon this is probably the best test case. James Scott sets 32.185, so continuing to push some pretty quick times.
Yeah, he is flying. Matt Bowler's actually made the decision to come into the pit lane, so the race leader is into the lane and will get his fuel. I don't think we're going to see anyone probably change tyres here. I think this is going to be...
They absolutely will.
Want to keep
not to drives, rather, but...
no, I just would think in this situation, potentially, the used wet tyres have more temperature, so you wouldn't necessarily want to go on cold wet tyres.
They will, but you've got to keep in mind that the Gen 3 supercar tyres, wet or dry, absolutely will not last the same race distance as what you might see in the GT3s, and that's something, if you're not familiar with it, folks, the actual tyre behaviour varies drastically from car to car and series to series. The Gen 3 supercar tyres, and it's as much the case for the wet tyres as it is for the dries, they are pretty much done in terms of their best lap times in the first 3, 4, 5 laps. And realistically, once you're starting to get up to about 20 or 30 laps, that set of tyres is completely finished. I would be amazed if the drivers are not taking a change of tyres when they come in to get fuel as well. Even though they'll be coming out on a cold set, it takes very little time to get them up to temp for the supercars, and so it's really worth the time spent to get that extra bit of lap time out of it.
Yeah, look, I think I was more thinking of the tyre temperature and how much standing water is out there, but when you put it like that, it absolutely makes sense to put on a fresh set of boots. And you see Matt Bowler here, it might take a little bit for these tyres to come up to temperature, but absolutely he will push on the question for Hayden Veld. Yeah, how long does Hayden Veld stay out there? That is the question, because James Scott is also catching him at a relative rate of knots as well. So looking for where Ryan Palmer came in. He's sitting in 10th at the moment behind David Coleman. Ryan Nielsen is about 10 seconds behind Matt Bowler, and he is the first of the cars that have stopped in this race. So about 20 minutes remaining in this race, just over 20 minutes, 13 laps. What will come first? I'd suggest probably...
It's got to be the time. It's got to be time certain
It's got to be the
point.
time. It's got to be time, yeah.
And, you know, we were cutting it pretty fine to time certain before. As you start to throw in pit stops, that's absolutely going to drag us beyond that. Liam Jensen has just set his best lap of 34.7. Ben Morris is into the pits now as well. So drivers just starting to filter through and get that little bit of extra fuel and some new tyres to get them home from here. You know, 20 minutes on a fresh set of tyres is probably about the best they can hope for. Paul Young finds himself just out-braking again, and we're seeing this all night tonight. The high-speed braking is catching quite a few drivers out. It's not surprising at all. The conditions just keep moving on them. The weather seems to be clearing up a little bit, although it can be tricky. You can see now as we pull back on this shot, the rain does become visible again. So keep in mind, you know, as we go for these longer camera shots, our camera operators out there are zooming in a fair way from their positions, and so it does tend to really mask just how much rain is still falling. But I can tell you from the radar, it's definitely past the worst of it, but there is no end in sight for the showers that are going to hang around for the rest of this race.
Yeah, the rain is here to stay.
Big moment there for Jensen. He can't save it.
Oh, massive moment.
That puddle is going to catch someone out at some point, and it looks like Liam Jensen might be one of the first. Very, very lucky not to get collected by another of the cars on the way through. And in the background, Thomas Hinds starting to catch up. Ryan Palmer, though, picks up another spot. He's back up into 9th. In terms of position post-pit stop, though, Matt Bowler still in 5th after his pit stop, so it hasn't cost him a great deal of track position. And it just shows how far out in front he was with Hayden Veld before coming in there. The last lap for Bowler, a 1:36.2. I'll be very, very interested to see what sort of time he can pull here with these fresh tyres on. His best lap of the race is 32.3, but with the conditions being what they are, well, James Scott's just run a 32 flat, and he hasn't come into the pits yet. So there's still quite a bit of pace out there. Scott's passed Veld, and in fact Veld, I think, has gone into the wall. He's picked up a meatball flag, and he is missing the front end of that car. He's hit a wall very, very hard.
Oh, that is unfortunate for Hayden Veld. We'll have to go back. That would have been the start of the lap as well. So he's only at turn 4, so this would have been not too long ago. And Hayden Veld, that is absolutely devastating. Jamie Dyke is into the pits, and Matt Bowler will gain a position as he does pit. What has happened to
33.8
Hayden Veld?
Yeah, and I suspect it'll be the chicane. The iRacing Designs replay will show us. Oh, big hit on the tyre barrier.
Huge.
Just cuts it way too far. James Scott just barely avoids him on the exit of the chicane. But that shows just how close Veld was cutting it to that corner each and every time, and unfortunately it's caught him out.
Yeah, that's a huge incident, and I was thinking someone was going to do something like that at some point, and unfortunately it is Hayden Veld that has been the first victim of that chicane in these conditions. He will limp that car back, no doubt. Here we go once again. Bang! Immediately tears the front corner out of it. I'm surprised that car, I'm actually impressed that car did not roll, and I was definitely
that
going
had to be
expect
close.
that car to roll.
Had to be close, surely.
Very close. James Scott is in the lane into the pits for his stop. Hayden Veld will also dive in. There you go. He is in. Will James Chastanoff like to come in at this stage? I think he's going to push on.
No, he's going to keep going. He needs to keep pushing on at the moment, and he needs to use this track time and position to try and open up a bit of a gap. Now, I can't imagine that he's saved enough fuel that he's going to make it all the way to the end here. There's just no way. No way. I haven't done any of the maths on it, so this is purely me talking from at best a guess, right? But I just can't see how Chastanoff could have saved enough fuel that he's not going to have to stop at some point. But the longer that he can go here, the less fuel he's going to have to take. Now, whether he tries to stay on this set of tyres all the way to the end is a whole other thing. I mean, he might even at this stage elect to do that if he feels like he can make them last and keep enough pace to make this stop a real splash and dash when he does come in. And that's probably his best shot at the moment, right? Get in.
Go for the no tyres, just gas.
Yeah, exactly. No tyres, just gas. Get a little bit of extra fuel in there and get back out of that pit lane as quickly as you possibly can. That said, I don't know that tyres will actually add all that much extra time. I mean, you look at, well, Ryan Nielsen was in the pits for 11 seconds, and I think that was probably about the quickest of the pit stops. James Scott spent 23, so there's a little bit of headroom for Shasty here as he hits that inside puddle. And geez, I'm waiting for these guys to come undone here, but Shasty's going to keep pushing on. We've got a few battles just starting to re-emerge here as everyone gets through their pit stops. What is interesting to note is that Jamie Dyke, who was battling it out with Ryan Palmer, has come in, done his pit stop, and he is actually sitting up in 6th. He's a good, 7 seconds up the road from Ryan Palmer.
Yeah, wow, that is interesting to note. So Ryan Palmer, I think this traffic that he's found himself in probably hasn't helped. It has, and I don't think the traffic he's in has helped either, trying to navigate cars. But Jamie Dyke is well out in front. Next question, I want to know their pit stop times potentially. Oh, Hayden Veld is back to that incident once again, and oh, James Scott. Every time I watch that, my heart is in my mouth. I know that it ends well for both of them, but my heart is absolutely in my mouth as Ryan Palmer finds a way past David Coleman. But I'd be interested to know the difference in the pit stop times between Jamie Dyke and Ryan Palmer.
Well, Dyke spent 12.85 seconds in the box, 38.38 end-to-end. Ryan Palmer, 12.62, 39.53. Absolutely nothing in it. All the time has been Palmer losing that time on track. And right now, it's 10 seconds, or as good as 10 seconds up to Jamie Dyke. I don't know what's happened, but Palmer's gotten caught up somewhere, and has lost a huge amount of time following his pit stop. That's got to be disappointing for him.
Definitely. That is a huge amount of time. There you go. So championship leader is into the lane. Matt Bowler will absolutely take control of this race. James Scott will jump in, but does he come out in front of Ryan Nielsen? I would imagine not. I'd say he will probably firmly be behind his teammate in Ryan Nielsen. Hayden Veld as well. Will he, I think he'll come out in front of Hayden Veld here, though. I'd say he has to, given the time. He's at pit exit now, so he's exiting the pit lane. He's back out on track, and he does come out in front of Hayden Veld. So he is behind his teammate, but he is in front of Hayden Veld. So he holds on to 4th position, which is, I wouldn't say is necessarily better, but it's not exactly worse than where he was previously.
No, and it's actually, I'm surprised to see him take as long as he did in the pit bay, and not a massive difference, you know, just shy of 13 seconds in the bay, but it is, you know, it is notably more as we see Chassis give up a spot to Veld there. So it's look, the cold tyres definitely playing a part on the exit of pits, and now Jamie Dyke is going to want to take advantage of that as well. In the background, Thomas Hinds and Will Buchanan just a couple of corners further back, battling it out as Buchanan goes through into P9. But here it is, Jamie Dyke has the run. He's got the warm tyres, so he's going to get out in front, and that is a massive move for him up into 5th. And Chastie's going to have to really fight to get back past that. Having Jamie Dyke in front of you is a very, very tough spot to be.
Yeah, well, we've seen how wide he's made that car. Will Brown meatball flag into the lane, so massive damage to his car. This is a replay. This is exactly what happened. So has he done something similar here?
Oh, another one.
Oh, so he's hit the puddle and cranked it sideways before he's even got to the corner, and then torn the front off it. So that is a massive hit. Almost got stuck in the gravel trap as well to Will Brown. So that's a huge
Jamie
hit.
Dyke.
Jamie Dyke! He's hit a puddle on the one into the final corner.
Oh, he
He's
gets
managed to get it stopped. He's going to lose the spot to James Chastanoff, but wow, that was... What a time to cut back. Their mistakes are starting to creep in, and that is the fatigue in these drivers starting to settle in. There is mistakes happening or up and down this field as drivers are fatigued, the puddles are still there, the rain is still falling. This is going to be a very, very treacherous last 12 minutes of this race.
It absolutely is. There's not a lot left here. I mean, what have we got? 7 laps to go. So we've still got, if we were running to full distance, we're still talking about 12 minutes. This is going to be really close, actually. I'm not convinced that we're definitely time certain, but we should be at this point. David Coleman has ended up with a meatball as well, so he's gone pretty heavily. I wonder if this is another victim of the turn one chicane. Yeah,
that puddle taking victims.
Well, we'll see if we can see. It hasn't actually been picked up on our telemetry as a crash, so he's kept the speed up. Look at the background, Ryan Palmer into the wall as he's trying desperately to chase down this gap to Chastie and Dyke. Let's see if we can pick this up though and see what's happened to David Coleman. Oh, big slide.
Oh.
Big slide. Where is that?
That's on the outside of turn 3. So that's the outside of the centre chicane.
That motor is in big trouble.
That is in huge trouble for that engine. That's a different one. That's very strange for David Coleman. Absolutely. I think he must have gotten loose surely at some point, and he's still rolling around. Here we go. The iRacing Designs replay might show. So this is a fair while before this, so we'll have to follow this for a little while, folks. Into the final complex corner. He's got Ryan Palmer in front of him. And look, that's a scary prospect, to be honest. So I'd be feeling nervous if I was David Coleman's too. But he comes into turn 1, and a little bit of blipping for all the drivers. The iRacing service struggling with this rain. Into turn 1, what happens here? He gets it wrong, clips the inside fence, and then just straight on. He's actually broken that right front on the tyre barrier. So if you watch closely, as he runs through there, Jared, he's actually broken the right front on the initial contact at turn 1, and he's not able to steer the car.
Yeah, the chicane. Look, I'm surprised it hasn't caught more drivers out in these conditions, which just goes to show how well the entire field is doing tonight. But I tell you what, when it is catching him out, it's spectacular, isn't it? Look at this. We're thinking about side-by-side Jensen and Loxton. Loxton thinks much better of it. But look at the extra pace he's carried. He's given it a little bit of a nudge there, and Jensen's into the wall, just avoided by his teammate as he tries desperately to get out of the way. Now Loxton will be slowing down to redress that one, I'm sure. But geez, I don't know why. I don't know why Jensen bled off all of that speed. That was a much slower transit of the chicane than I think we've seen from anybody.
Yeah, that was very interesting from Jensen. Maybe he just got the line wrong, didn't want to make a mistake in the chicane, and caught Loxton out with the speed difference. This is Chastanel from Dyke, still battling away. It's starting to clear up out there, but it won't clear up enough for this race to end under dry conditions. So this is what happens coming up.
Brad Grant. Brad Grant has just run wide in that final corner, and Dean Power as well. Look at this, under brakes, just can't get it stopped. And you're starting to see that now. Even, I mean, Dean Power came in early. He came in lap 9, and so those tyres that are still in that car are, they're pretty done at this point. While we've been watching that earlier issue for Brad Grant, he's just had another incident as well. And look, similar kind of thing, hitting that puddle. Look at how much it's really impacting these drivers trying to get the car stopped on the entry to that staircase.
Yeah, it is a challenge for those drivers out there at the moment. The standing water is not going anywhere. Despite it being lighter out there,
Ryan Nielsen's in.
Well, Ryan Nielsen is in. He was very early into the pit lane though, so this isn't a complete surprise. He might not have been able to make it on fuel. He did pit when we had that safety car very early on in the race, so
maybe he was counting on another safety car or two yet.
I think so. I think a safety car would have helped.
Which is worth a gamble.
It was, absolutely, and you have to take the gamble. It does promote Caden Veld up a spot. It also does promote his teammate James Chastanel up a spot.
Hayden Veld's just set the fastest lap to a 31.85, so it is starting to dry up a little.
It's getting quicker out there. Only a little bit, but it is getting faster. We're on lap 36. We have about 7 minutes to go in this race. When we do cross the...
That's going to be pretty close. It's going to be pretty close.
Yeah.
But we're going to be time certain here, folks. I would almost guarantee it. It's going to go close to full distance, though, which honestly in these conditions is pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive. Absolutely very impressive from these guys. So cutting it close, and look, I'm very excited to see whether we do make it onto lap 40 or not before the clock does count down, or does count up I should say, to an hour and 5. But Jamie Dyke, he is putting pressure on James Chastanel. He does not want to let him get our way. We saw this earlier, Jamie Dyke, he made it hard for Ryan Palmer to pass and then stayed with him, was all over the back of him, and he's doing the same thing here with James Chastanel. He made a mistake in the final corner, James got through, but now Jamie Dyke, even with the big slide there on the exit of turn 11, he is not letting the championship leader out of his sight.
No, and this is the tricky moment for Dyke, right? He'll want to really push on and try and close that gap, but he knows that if he overcooks it here, it's going to cost him a lot of positions and a lot of points. And in that battle for what, 3rd, 4th, 5th in the championship, he's going to need every point that he can get at this stage. So he needs to stay right where he is and just save it for, I don't know, the last lap or two is where he's going to want to throw a bit more at it. I don't know. I don't know whether he's going to have an opportunity though. This is Adelaide, right? Where do you get a pass done when you're so evenly matched? Tell you what though, bit of a sun shower now though, and I think a lot of the drivers will be happy to see the clouds clearing, even if it makes no really discernible difference on track. I think it'll just be nice to have a bit of blue sky around for the finish, and it certainly does make it look a little less gloomy for us as well here in the booth.
The sun has come out to celebrate what has been a wonderful evening of racing here at Adelaide once again. Ryan Palmer under pressure from Ryan Nielsen, so the Ryan off is going to take place here for 7th and 8th on the track. The Ryan off. Who is the better Ryan? We will find out in inside the next 5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Massive moment for Ryan Palmer through 8. He almost was in that wall. Goes defensive. There's going to be a little bit of a touch between the two, and Nielsen has to go the long way around, but Palmer for now keeps ahead in the Ryan off here in Adelaide for the superior Ryan. And, it's in the wall. That's a very strange spot to have an incident. Liam Jensen, typically you wouldn't see a car on the inside like that. He's already
Jamie Dyke.
Jamie Dyke! Oh, no. That is huge. And here comes, is that Thomas Hinds? It is Thomas Hinds that's just gone past. And what has happened to Jamie Dyke? He's going to elect to go in the pit lane, so he's going to get that repaired. He's clearly not able to continue.
Is it that puddle that's done it? It is.
Oh, yeah. And
that's heartbreaking.
That's huge contact.
Jamie Dyke, 38 laps in, 37 laps in, has done such an amazing job of holding it together.
Yeah.
And that puddle has finally claimed another victim.
That is heartbreaking stuff for Jamie Dyke. It could promote Simon Caplet inside the top 10 here, though, which would be, again, a wonderful result for him. Ryan Palmer, not the drive off 6 he would have wanted. He's coming across to go defensive into 7. This could set up the switchback for Nielsen if he's smart. But Ryan Palmer positioned that car very, very, very wisely, very defensively. Jamie Dyke still in the lane. We might lose even more spots here. And they're side by side on the run to 9. They're not going to go side by side through 8. Surely they don't. They sort it out before they get there, but it's not over yet, folks. Heavy braking. Ryan Palmer defensive into turn 9. Nielsen looks to go at the inside, but he has to settle to sit in under his rear wing for now. This is far from over. We've reached an hour and 1 minute. This is like 39 now.
I think we might actually make it home.
We should get 40 laps in, only just. So there'll be another 2 laps for Ryan Nielsen to try and find his way past Palmer in front. But this is going to be a big task because Palmer is going very defensive.
Yeah, he's absolutely feeling the pressure here. And Nielsen with, I mean, look, the pit stop has helped him here, right? He's got nice fresh tyres on that thing. Although maybe not actually. He only spent 9.5 seconds in the bay. I'm not actually entirely sure of the time to get tyres changed on a supercar, but 9.5 doesn't seem like quite long enough to get it done. Dean Powers into the pits, so he's going to drop back potentially a little further, which is great news for Simon Caplet in that championship battle. I think we're going to go the full distance here, only just, and only through, I feel like it's just sheer luck. And have a look at this, Nielsen almost getting alongside. Brad Grant gets out of the way. That was probably the best opportunity for Nielsen on this lap to actually get the overlap on Palmer, and now he's just going to have to follow through here again. Got 1 lap left to go after this. Will we see him send it into the braking zone here at 9? You've got to do it, surely. Bit of a tap of the wall for Palmer, and here we go. That's a very, very big commit to the inside line. Palmer's gone defensive, not defensive enough. Nielsen goes through. Can Palmer get back under him? A bit of a, oh, look at Jamie Dyke. Just trying everything to get back around to the pits. It looks like he's just had another issue.
He has.
The white flag is out, so we are going to
that.
complete the full distance.
We are. We're going to make it. Yeah, Jamie Dyke, he'd come into the pits and fixed that, and now, look, he's lost the front bar once again. This is heartbreaking stuff for Jamie Dyke. I cannot help but feel bad for him, because that is just, he drove so beautifully today, and that puddle has caught so many drivers out, as Brett Loxton gets caught out by the puddle at 4 once again, and we've seen so many drivers just make unfortunate mistakes with the puddles on this, in the standing water that is around here. But Matt Bowler has been one of those drivers that is flawless today. James Scott has tried his hardest. He's closed that gap to within 2.5 seconds, but no one has been able to touch Matt Bowler in this race.
No, massive drive for Bowler. It's, look, 2 seconds the gap back to James Scott, who has been charging so hard for so long here tonight, but he's not going to get there in time. And what a massive drive. Matt Bowler is going to come across the line. Caplet moves off to the side as Bowler goes across to take the checkered flag, takes the win. James Scott comes home in second, and Hayden Veld in third is just rounding the final turn now. So a long way back, but he's going to pick up third, and look at him celebrate on the way through as he's known to do. And I'm absolutely, oh, he's going to struggle to get this one drifted through the chicane, but he manages to keep it on the asphalt. So you know what, I'll pay that. We'll allow that. It's an Eclipse Sim Sports 1, 2, 3. Matt Bowler, James Scott, Hayden Veld, And James Chassenov just coming across the line now in 4th. Will Buchanan just another second behind. Ryan Nielsen has cleaned up Ryan Palmer and will come home in 6th. Now, Thomas Hinds looks like Palmer's run out of fuel.
Oh, no.
So
Palmer is out if he's going to roll across the
just
line.
rolls it home in 8th, which gives you an idea of just how tight he was on fuel here. But same story for Cruz McVee. Look at him trying to get home here. He's going to get a bit of a help along from another of the Koala Cartel cars, but he'll... oh, no. Oh. Cruz McVee, that little nudge from... I'm not sure who it was, but one of his Koala Cartel teammates, that little nudge just before the line was enough to put McVee into a black flag for incident limit.
It's all happened at the end here, hasn't it? That is devastating stuff. So devastating. I think he'll be okay, though, Cruz McVee, because Simon Kaplan is about a minute and a half behind. Yeah, about a minute and a half behind. And it's only 40 seconds? Or was it 90 seconds?
Yeah, 40 seconds for a black flag there. So he retains 9th position, being a fair way ahead of Caplet. But, geez, what a wild finish to race number 2. Matt Bowler takes the win ahead of James Scott, then Hayden Bell. James Chassenov comes home in 4th, so there'll only be a small close-up of that battle at the top of the championship. Will Buchanan gets 5th ahead of Ryan Nielsen and Thomas Hinds. Ryan Palmer coughs and splutters his way across the line in 8th, ahead of Cruz McVee doing much the same in 9th. Simon Caplet finishes in the top 10, a great result for him here in race 2, ahead of James Doyle. Then Ben Morris and Brett Loxton with Liam Jensen in 14th. Jamie Dyke, really, really unfortunate end to his race after just pushing so hard for so long. Ends up in 15th, and I might get you to run through the rest of them here for me, Isaac.
Yeah, absolutely. So, James, well, I'm a bit lost. I've lost where I'm up to. I've lost my name, but there we go. So, yeah, Simon Caplet, as we said, will take the victory, but Dean Power in 16th. So what does that do for the championship? We'll wait and find out. Jamie Dyke, a heartbreaking day for him in 15th. Brad Grant, 17th. David Coleman in 18th. William Brown, 19th. And Thomas Cool rounding out that top 20. And then Paul Young, some laps down, 14 laps down. Dave Snadden, 19 laps down. Scott Watts, 29 laps down. And Josh Harris with that really unfortunate hardware failure on lap number 2, which brought out the safety car originally. So that was a huge hit for Josh Harris. And we obviously hope that he's okay. Obviously it is a game, but still it's a heavy hit in the hardware failure. And hopefully that's not too serious of a hardware failure, that we can see him back next week when we go to Long Beach.
Yeah, and look, another straight track lies ahead. Who knows what that's going to bring. Let's have a chat to at least one of the drivers. We'll see if we get a couple more of the guys that jump on in. But we are joined first and foremost by 3rd place here tonight. It's none other than Hayden Veld. G'day, Hayden. Welcome back to the booth.
Hey, how you going, boys?
Mate, we are fine up here. We've had a pretty relaxed time of things. I would hazard a guess that it's probably not been the same for you out there on track. It looked like hard going tonight.
Yeah, I definitely struggled a lot in the first sort of rolled into the session with like 20 minutes to go without turning a lap, which around here is never easy to pick up, so we're sort of a little bit on the back foot there. But the rain is something I generally feel a lot more comfortable in, so I actually in ways felt better in the final race, despite I'm sure you may have seen the many dramas I ran into, but we'll just forget about those. But no, it wasn't too bad.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I did want to come back to the one incident that we did see for you that was pretty epic. Actually, were you expecting to go quite as airborne off that tyre barrier as you did? Because it was a big hit into the chicane there.
Yeah, I turned in and I sort of felt like I'd done it where I'd had every other lap, and it sort of felt the same, but it just decided to keep grip in that lap. So obviously the track got a little bit drier and didn't quite slide as much as I anticipated, because every other lap I sort of turned in, aimed at the tyre barrier and just let it slide out around it, and clearly the track just dried up that little bit too much, and she gripped on the front and went up and pretty much over, or I don't know. It was very large.
Yeah, we took a good couple of looks at it, and we're looking at it again now, because why not? It was an impressive one, mate. In terms of the incidents we saw, and it certainly wasn't the only one tonight. From there, though, a fair bit of work required to fight your way back through the field. How did you keep it together after that, I suppose, and keep the head down to still end up in third tonight?
I think it's a case of just a big reset, to sort of forget that it happened and just continue on driving as if nothing happened. And if you get caught up thinking about that, then you'll never go fast again. So you just sort of got to forget that you did it. Keep it somewhat in the back of the mind as don't do it again, but you can't completely change your driving around it. So I just sort of continued on as if nothing happened, and I knew I just needed to get further up, and had a fastest lap battle with James at the end, and he unfortunately got me. So yeah.
Well, mate, a massive drive tonight. Congratulations on a great result. The last question before we do let you go, your playlist tonight. What was playing in your ears this evening? I assume a bit of Sabrina, but anything else in the mix?
Yeah, had Sabrina in the first, and honestly it wasn't working, so I had to went back to Rufus again, and that seemed to work for me again. Although Sabrina may have made more sense in the rain, a bit of tears down my thighs, but it was, we went with Rufus instead.
I can hear Isaac giggling away in the background there. He obviously knows all the lyrics to Sabrina songs, so he knows exactly what you're putting down there, mate. Yeah. Awesome to have you drop by again, as always, Hayden. Congratulations on the results tonight. Before we let you go, anyone you want to say hello to other than the usual suspects, or including the usual suspects?
I'll give the usuals a rest. I think we've all heard them enough, and we will hopefully not end of this season, because I won't be here for the next one, I'm pretty sure, but hopefully in the next season we hear him again. But I do, on a genuine note here, I want to give a big shout out to one of my old mates, Aidan Becker. He absolute hero, paid the ultimate sacrifice pretty much for being a hero. So yeah, just want to give a big shout out to him.
Thank you so much, as always, for dropping on in, and a huge drive again tonight, mate. It's always a pleasure to watch, and certainly the slide through the turn one chicane to celebrate. One of the more impressive saves I think I've seen from you in the post-race celebrations. So very, very well done tonight, mate, and as always, a pleasure to speak to you, and hopefully won't be too long before we've got you back in the booth with us.
Cheers, boys.
Hayden Feld there takes out P3 this evening. Unfortunately, we don't look like we're going to hear from James Scott or Matt Bowler tonight. So let's take a look at where we think the points will stand after tonight, Isaac. And yeah, look, it's getting closer at the top end of the field. Shasti and Bowler only 28 points separating them at this stage. Look, as long as Shasti shows up for the final race, and as long as he performs reasonably, he should only need to be mid-pack or higher in the races in that final round. I think he'll have this one sewn up, but Matt Bowler's throwing absolutely everything at him so far. The battle for the third step, though, is the one that I'm watching really closely. Thomas Hinds, look, had it not been for the unfortunate events in those last few laps for Jamie Dyke, I reckon he'd be pretty comfortably sitting in that third spot, but it's going to go right down to the wire for the third step of the championship podium this time around, and I don't know who to put my money on.
Yeah, well, Will Buchanan's in that fight as well. 19 points separate Thomas Hinds, Thomas Hinds and Will Buchanan and Jamie Dyke. So the three of them covered by a very, very small gap, and that could go either way. And looking at the Dean Powell Simon Caplet situation as well, only about 70 points between the two of them, which is a fairly large gap. But if Simon Caplet can pull off a couple more top 10 results next week, and Dean Powell isn't able to answer the call, then that certainly could swing back Simon Caplet's way very quickly.
Well, make sure you do stick around to check that all out. Next week will be the finale for this season of the Domains2U MCV8 Series. As always, proudly presented by MC Motorsport and supported by Domains2U.com.au, along with Everything Simulated, iRap Designs and Sixpence Coffee as fantastic supporters of this league. It's been another amazing night of racing here. I am pumped to see where this championship actually finishes up next week. But we are not done with this week. Of course, Wednesday night will be the final round of the MC GT3 Championship as well. So do make sure you tune in for that one. And of course, on Sunday, we have the opening round of the 2026 Alliance Sim Racing Endurance Championship. The Bend, 600 kilometres, lies ahead. And I can tell you that is always a good watch. So make sure you do join us on Sunday at around about midday for the Queenslanders out there, a little bit later for all those other daylight savings mob that are out there. We'll get into, I'm sure, discussions about that on the day.
Nice and early if you're in Perth, though.
Well, yeah, nice and early in Perth, absolutely. And if you happen to be in the UK, really early, really late. I don't know which you'd call that at that point. But in any case, make sure you don't miss any of the racing action that's still to come here on Simple Racing Broadcast. My name's Jared Cole on behalf of Isaac Fogarty and everyone else in the Simple team. It's been great to have you along once again tonight. Do take care. And until next time, it is goodbye for now.